mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J Mitch. We got Jackie Boy.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good time. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys would come in, say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there. Helmet. He's punching me in the stomach, like, steady punching me.
Here, and there's everyone sitting around, who here thinks Ovchinko can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's doing the team 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Ovchinko can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I fucking saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
Be on the spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
You heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled.
Whoa. What was that?
Time to start the show.
Why would I have that?
You had the circus or something.
6'3", I'm late. Like, I don't even know what I'd be doing.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? And it's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they're
all fatter than I
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
I mean, you're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Hello. Good evening. Welcome back to Mic'd Up. Today is Wednesday, March 29th. Again, like always, we have a great, big, enormous, huge show for you. It is the eve before the big Tennessee LSU weekend. Starting on Thursday, ESPNU has a primetime 7 o'clock game tomorrow. SEC Network has the game on Friday at 6 o'clock, and the game on Sunday is at 1. Tennessee comes to town. There's a lot of smoke around, Tennessee and how they act and what they do and all of these types of things. There's a lot of hype around LSU. It's going to be very emotional, very talent-rich matchup between both teams. We have Kendall Rogers coming in, not in studio, coming on the show via video call at 7 o'clock to talk about the landscape of college baseball, landscape of SC baseball, and what this series means to college baseball. We're going to run through the Heineken headlines. It's Wednesday, which means it's Ask Mikey and Mitch. We've gotten some of your questions. Please continue to ask questions in the chat.
They're pouring in right now.
We would love that. We would love to answer them. We also have an announcement. We announced that we're doing the whole Booze Cruise thing. The Booze Cruise movement. That's the word I'm looking for, right? The whole Booze Cruise movement. Hashtag Booze Cruise. Every time Dylan Cruz hits a home run, hashtag Booze Cruise. Our partners at Heineken Silver, they've been really good to us. Lloyd, our designated chugger, right? He chugs a beer every time,
DC.
or chugs something, takes a shot, chugs a beer. If we're in studio, it's a Heineken Silver every time Dylan Cruz hits a homer. So we said, you know what, let's build this community. Let's get everybody else involved. So we put it out there. We've gotten a lot of submissions. One in particular,
I think he's doing it for sport.
I think that we've unlocked something for him that's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we should dial this thing back, but
I'll see you I'll probably get to know him for 60 days.
We announced that the winner, the submission, plural, we picked the best one, and then we give a gift to, a prize to. We announced what it was, due to a gift package, due to,
legalities.
Maybe. I don't really know how that works, so we're not going to announce exactly what it is, but it is a gift package that we will put together and send to him. And the winner of the Booze Cruise, the first week of the Booze Cruise Challenge, is Jeff Cavan Jr. Now, if you follow him on Twitter, he has the egg. He has the egg, but he is real. He is very real. Because we have gotten, I think, every day for the last 7 days, we've gotten
at least
a video of him chugging
one.
it. It's not because Dylan Cruz said, not always. Now, when he did. He sent it to us. So, he is the winner. Congratulations, Jeff. We appreciate that. We're going to continue to do that. We're getting new merch created as we speak. I had to go off the phone with them today. So, we're getting new shirts, new hats. We're getting koozies made. We're getting a whole bunch of other stuff made. So, as these Booze Cruise weeks go on and we get more submissions and new people participating, you will get, free merch. You will get signed autographs from me and Jared. We're going to get pictures and all this kind of stuff. So we want everyone to be involved. We want everybody to be included. So please have fun with us. With that said, NIL Threads there's our guy. He even got some of, I guess that's his son.
I don't know, whoever. Yeah, he's brought in some competition just to embarrass him, apparently.
Yeah. So, and look, he likes to talk a little shit, too, when he does it. That's okay. It's good. I enjoy the participation. But with this Booze Cruise movement, NIL Threads has created a shirt that says Booze Cruise, which I love it. They're for sale. Go look at their website. Go look at their Instagram. Go ahead and
buy one.
Throw some dollars over there to them. So that's my first announcement. Second announcement is we announced that on Thursday, tomorrow, is the first game of the of LSU-Tennessee baseball series. Big matchup, hype matchup, top 10 matchup. A bunch of talented players, 3 top potential number 1 overall draft picks on the field at the same time. We, the boys, are having a tailgate, mic'd up tailgate. Here's the kicker, though. I'm not telling you where it's at. You've got to get out there, and you got to come out, and you got to find it, right? We're not going to be hit. It's not football where you have to go around the entire campus to find a tailgate. We're going to be out there. We're going to be out there early, cooking, drinking, having a good time, music, TV, all the other stuff. So come out, hang out. If you see the sign, if you see Mic'd Up banner, if you see us out there, come say hey, have a drink with us, and come enjoy the festivities before the game starts. Those are my announcements. Now let's go through
Look at that shirt.
Look at the shirt. Looks good.
Yeah, collaborative effort.
No doubt.
I think I get maybe it's a portion of these sales. We were, doing a little business.
I love that.
Art of the deal.
Yeah, art of the deal. Never read it, you should read it. Let's go through LSU.
How's he been doing?
Yeah, not very good. LSU had a game yesterday, a baseball game. They cruised to a 17-5 win over Grambling. They did what they were supposed to do, 7-inning game. Get in, get out, get ready for the game tomorrow. And we're looking for that. Like I said, Tennessee weekends this weekend. We announced all the tailgates. And Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens were recognized nationally as nationally players of the week, right? Of the week.
The year.
Probably of the year. Cruz, obviously, offensive player of the year, or player of the week, maybe of the year. And Paul Skeens, pitcher of the week. And women's college basketball plays tomorrow. Nope, Friday. Friday night against Virginia Tech, number 1 seed Virginia Tech, 6 p.m. in Dallas. Obviously, LSU plays at the same time, so that's kind of tough. But you know what? The beauty of technology is you can be at the LSU game and pull up the women's basketball game on your phone, or vice versa. Be at the Final Four and pull up the baseball game on your phone. I'd imagine that baseball is a little easier to watch a basketball game on your phone than watching a baseball game at a basketball game, because the basketball is a little more high-paced.
You don't have to watch the kids run the bases. They just give them... I don't think anybody's lost that challenge yet. The kid that has to go steal the base and come back across the line.
They need to make it more difficult.
Or stop. We don't need to give participation trophies to everybody. You know,
Pretty
like,
sure that's been a
the
participation
thing.
trophy
Yeah.
for a while. Could you
doubt.
imagine a kid running and be like, "No,
We had
you
a-
get nothing.
We
Get
had a
back on your
promotion.
seat.
We had a promotion.
you actually have to leave the game.
See you, buddy."
We had a promotion in Durham where they used to do the same thing, but they used to run around the base like they used
The
to
arc,
run around.
run the arc, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then they
Yeah.
would get to home plate, and you'd have to beat the mascot, Wooly the Bull, right?
Wooly the Bully?
Wooly the Bull, right? So they're doing it this one time, and our shortstop it was a big leaguer. His nephew was the one running.
Yeah.
And his nephew was running.
Collusion.
And what Wooly does is he tries to like juke the kid, and then go the opposite way and like fall or like get out the way and give the kid a head start or more of a lead. So he jukes him, and the kid goes the same way Wooly is going, and he runs him over, and the kid breaks his arm.
No.
Oh, broken
Yeah.
arm.
Yeah.
No.
Disaster.
Wait, no, I'm not laughing.
Disaster.
What?
Disaster.
That's the first time I've ever heard that
Yeah.
one before.
And Durham's money's long.
Yeah, and I don't think anything legally happened, but like tough.
It should have. That's a lawsuit.
That's tough.
100%.
And look, the mascot was such a nice guy, and like he felt so bad, but
Oof.
it went wrong. It was not good. LSU's pro day happened today, right? Jarek Bernard Converse put on a show.
Yeah, he
He had I don't know why he didn't get invited to the regular combine. I don't know, the NFL combine, but he had his pro day. He ran a 4.4. Well, he ran 2 40s. One was sub 4.4, and one was 4.4. He jumped a 42-inch vertical.
42, coach.
It's very high.
Well, that's up there.
That's up there. That's getting up. That's going to get it.
Higher than 29.
That's
That's
higher
bunnies.
than 29.
That's some bunnies right there.
He put on a great show.
Yeah.
Kayshawn elected not to participate in the 40s, the testing part of it, but he participated in the drills, and I don't know how great of a showing he put forth. They had a video of him running the cone drill, doing the 3-cone drill. There's rumors that he didn't run deep balls. He didn't run a deep route. It just seemed like it was a little bit of a mess, and I don't think that looks good going into the draft. So we'll see what happens there. I'm not talking anything bad about it. I'm just talking about what I was told and what I saw, and my opinion on the thing. Major League Baseball opening day is tomorrow, and with that is the end of the Heineken headlines. Let's talk about baseball. Let's talk about what everybody wants. What are you doing over there? You look like you're locked into something.
Oh, getting the Ask Mikey and Mitch.
There we go.
Queued up.
Ask Mikey and Mitch. Y'all are coming out there, right? Tomorrow at tailgate?
Absolutely.
We'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be out there.
Jack probably has to weld something or do some sort of thermodynamic.
Yeah, some thermo. But I wanted to get there. I wanted to bring his camera. I want him to have, I imagine he's going to have his camera for the game, right? Is he doing that? I think he does.
He's your employee.
Take pictures. Not my employee.
He's a part of the team.
He's part of the team. I mean, I'm not.
We could probably ask him.
Yeah, we'll ask him. He's not coming in today. But
Just following the bugs.
before we get into the conversation with Kendall Rogers, right? Because we're going to talk a lot of baseball in the the second hour of the show, and 7 o'clock.
7th hour.
7th hour.
If Lloyd had it his way,
Second,
we
yeah,
can do it.
Yeah, no doubt. But before that, I want to have a kind of a preview of what we think that we're going to see throughout the series, right? And so I was looking at some of the numbers, right? Dollinger. God, I can't talk today.
You were doing so good before
I know.
the show.
Paul Skeens and Dollinger are pitching against each other on Thursday.
Yeah.
Both of them are supposed to be high-end first-round picks, top 5, top 10 picks, potentially number 1 overall pick, right? Skeens' numbers in his start of the season has been significantly better than Tennessee's guy.
Which is still having a good year, too.
He's having a great year. I think he's a 3.5 or 3.6 ERA. I think he had a couple rough starts, but his last couple outings have been very good. And then you have their second starter is also a potential first-rounder in Tennessee. I believe that all 3 starters at LSU.
He's got another year, though.
I think he's got another year. I believe he has. I think he's a sophomore.
Yeah, I think he was in the – unless he's a draft-eligible sophomore, but I think he has another year.
So you have Chase Dollinger, 3.93 ERA, actually. Ooh. So it's coming down. Mm-hmm. Paul Skeens, 0.59. That's a zero.
0.59, meaning there was nothing in front of the point.
There's no.
Yeah,
he gives up less than 1 run.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, so that's what happens.
It got tortured after that 1 run he gave up.
I think he gave up 3 this year, huh?
Skewed the stats.
Yeah, I know. Chase Burns is their second guy. Ours is Ty Floyd. Chase is projected first-round pick. I believe Ty Floyd's going to be a first-rounder as well, at least in the supplemental round. Chase he's 2-1 with a 4.1. Ty Floyd is 4-0 with a 2.0.
But I think his innings to strikeout numbers are
no doubt
goofy too. I think
Chase.
Yeah,
no doubt. They go out and punch guys. Now their Sunday guy is Drew Beam. He's 3-1 with a 2.5. So he's throwing really well.
He's better than you think too, because I saw him throw on Sunday. I was like, oh,
yeah,
that's pretty good.
No, he's good because I watched a little of their games last week with they're playing A&M, and you want
their Sunday game was an ESPN game, so it was kind of easy to catch if you didn't catch it.
And then he's going against Thatcher. Obviously, Thatcher's had a couple of rough outings in a row. I'm not doubting Thatcher at all. Like, I'm not worried about him. I think his stuff is good enough, and his makeup and his ability on the mound is good enough, and I'm not worried about it.
Think of it this way. We probably see him top end if he throws well as the guy that could be a potential first rounder next year. Thatcher's got a sub 4, and we've seen some good outings and some bad ones. So I would imagine that Dollinger has been somewhat around the same way visually, but we know what the potential is.
No doubt, right? And now offensively, Tennessee's good.
Yeah.
They're not as good as LSU right now. They hit some homers. They strike out a little bit. Their team average is 293. LSU's team average is like pushing 340.
Yeah, it's
right?
330 plus.
Yeah,
probably close to 3. Yeah. After
now, this is probably the best staff, top to bottom, that LSU has faced up to this point. I don't know if it's going to be the best staff they've faced throughout the course of the year, but it seems like if not, it's going to be the top 3.
Yeah.
Right. So this is going to be a challenge. Obviously, baseball is a funny game, right? Anybody can beat anybody on any given day, depending on the guy on the mound who's controlling the game. And that's what I'm excited about, right? Like, obviously, Arkansas is good. Don't get me wrong. Arkansas is a top 5 team. They're very hot when they came here, and they played really well. They took that first game on Friday, and, then LSU kind of rebounded and kind of blew their doors off in the doubleheader on Saturday, right? But Arkansas, as hot as they were, they don't have their top pitchers. They have a lot of guys hurt. They're not pitching. Now, their best pitchers pitched to the first game, and you saw what they looked like with those guys on the mound. Tennessee's got all of their whole arsenal of arms available. And so I'm looking forward to the challenge. I know the guys are looking forward to the challenge. I'm looking forward to the quality of baseball that we're going to see on the field Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And, I think this is the biggest challenge for LSU so far. I also think that it's going to get a little chippy. I really believe that. Tennessee likes to talk a lot of shit, seemingly for no reason.
It's very well documented.
Seems like it comes from the top, right? It seems like that's the culture that is created there, which I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying they're wrong for doing it. I'm just saying that's not my
cup of tea. Like,
listen, you can have an edge to you. You can talk a little shit when you need to, but when you're the one always initiating it, it seems like it's a little forced. And so that's the way I feel about it. I'm not saying that they're doing anything wrong.
Attitude reflects leadership, Captain.
Right. I'm just think that it trickles down from
the top,
the head honcho, and you've seen some incidents with them, and he's been suspended a couple. But that was not because of his actions. That was because of the tampering part. You also saw him get suspended last year for chest bumping an umpire. Maybe he was trying to celebrate.
Has he been ejected also this year?
I'm sure.
Could see that again this weekend.
Yeah. I would imagine that. Look, Jay talked about how electric the atmosphere was Saturday night. I think you can multiply that Thursday and Friday this week by about 10.
I think you'll get it it'll be.
Coach, we're talking about tailgating on a Thursday at 3:00 in the afternoon on a work day.
I think this series will be as close to the playoff atmosphere as they might get all year.
Oh, this is super regional atmosphere.
Yeah,
I believe
they might get all year.
Yeah, I think the weather's going to be perfect.
The weather's going to be great.
Right? It's not going to be super
hot. It's not going to be cold.
Nope. It's going to be awesome. You're going to have two of the most talented teams in college baseball playing against each other at LSU on national TV. To me, that is a...
Deal's getting done.
I don't know who. It's a random number. I don't even know. To me, that is all you can ask for.
Yeah.
Right? And I didn't go to the night game Saturday. I went to the day game, but I didn't go to the night game. And the guys that I've talked to that were at the night game said that the atmosphere was very, very electric. Like, it was very rowdy. It was very fun. And I was like, well, that's good news, because over the last few years, you felt like you lost a little bit of that. And now with all of the hype and everything happening, it seems like it's all starting to come back. And now you have a team coming into Alex Box, coming into Baton Rouge, who seemingly asks for all of the smoke.
There's been a ton of momentum, I guess you could say, leading up to this weekend, and you can even start it before the season even started. Go back to Jay landing a very good recruiting class. Go back to all of the transfers, the big name transfers that come in. Go back to the seasons that Tennessee's had the past 2 years, leading up through how LSU has played so far this year. There's a lot to be, I guess, excited for come Thursday, Friday, Saturday night here.
I agree. And if you watched the game yesterday, Dylan Cruz had 2 hits, so his average is now at 540.
450.
540.
That wasn't at 540.
If he was hitting 340, he'd be having a good year. If he was hitting 440, wow, this guy, he's hitting 540. There's a 5 in front of him.
If he got up to the plate with the same, I guess you can say, power numbers, if you will, doubles, triples, homers, same RBIs, but he was hitting 340 right now, you'd be saying he's having a really good year. If he was hitting 440 with those same numbers, you'd be like,
wow,
he's having an unbelievable year. The guy's hitting 540 with that.
If he goes 2 for 4, his average goes down. If he goes 3 for 6, his average goes down. Like, it's unbelievable what he's doing, right? And I said this earlier in the week, and on Monday, and I'll stick by it. I think that if he gets through this weekend in that 520, 530 range, right, which he's got a little room now because he's hitting 542. If he stays where he's at or goes down to about 520-ish, 530, I think he has a real chance to get to that 500 mark. Now, obviously, he's still got 7 weekends left of the SEC, has more than half the season left. A lot of things can happen. It's hard to hit 500, but I believe this is the top to bottom, the hardest staff that he's going to have to face. And, listen, if he hits 480, great. I mean, that's a great season, right?
I mean, he's got, 83?
500 is hard to do.
He's got 83 at-bats on the year so far. He's going to be right around
200.
Probably below, but right around 100. Obviously around 100, but probably right below it after this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Through 100 at-bats to say you have 50 hits is absolutely, it's almost unheard of. Honestly.
That's unbelievable.
Like on any level of baseball.
It's unbelievable.
So, that's what you're looking at right now.
And on the flip side, Skeens leads the nation in strikeouts, 71, right? He leads the nation in hits allowed per 9 with 3.38 per 9 innings, so less than 4 hits per 9 innings that he's pitching. Wins, he has 5, and his whip is .56.
And the only game he didn't win in or get a decision in
was last weekend.
He gave up how many runs?
1 run. 1 run. He had a no decision. And his second national ERA with a .72 ERA. So you're going to see a lot. You're going to see an electric matchup. And I'm excited. What are you most excited to watch tomorrow or for the weekend?
I want to see these two lineups show up in this situation, right? Obviously, LSU's lineup has been dynamite all year. Like you said earlier, this is probably going to be the best pitching staff they'll face this year. I was looking at it earlier. They got some guys that have put up some impressive numbers out the bullpen, too. So you're not even just talking about just the starters. They got some guys in the bullpen that can kind of run it up there as well. I'm also excited to see how that side of how that team comes in and shows up with their lineup as well. Right. Like you said, they're chippy. They're going to talk it. Whether they walk it or not, they're going to talk it. And they got some talented guys there as well. So I really do want to see how they show up because I do feel like for them who this year hasn't been great so far. Do you think about last year, they started conference off 17-1. They had 25 wins in conference last year. Right where they're at right now, it kind of feels like to them a letdown. Why? Because you got the same coach. You got a lot of the same players back. You feel like you should be doing that and or better right now, but they're not.
Right.
Not like they're having a bad year, but they're not. Right. So I kind of feel like they're going to come in feeling like this is their opportunity, not only one to kick off and kickstart the rest of their season going forward, but to kind of show that they haven't gone anywhere. So it'll be interesting to see how they show up, how they play, how they act, and how this LSU side of it can respond to it.
Because it's been a mixed bag, right? The first 2 weekends they got swept against Missouri, and then they swept A&M, who is probably
better than you think,
and they're better than Missouri, right?
So and LSU didn't sweep if you want to think about it,
right?
If you want to do the comparison game,
right? So Tennessee's 3-3, LSU's 4-2 in conference. LSU's won both series. Tennessee got swept and swept. So they've had a mixed bag. Obviously, they got swept because they didn't pitch very well in the opening weekend. Last weekend they threw extremely well, and then whenever they had, they had the opportunities to kind of put it on them and take the lead and then run away with it. They did that. Lloyd.
Oh.
You want to join in this conversation, or?
I was just looking up some stats to see kind of where Tennessee is at, because I think that's what I was trying to find, is how many they've won in a row, because I think they just swept, like you said, A&M. I was trying to go back to see. I think they're coming in kind of hot, as we've kind of talked about on the show, where it's been after everything that they went through last year, where it felt like maybe the best team in the country or the best college baseball team of all time. Like, all of those conversations were happening, where it got to the point where Tennessee was really putting one finger on the plate and they were toying with college baseball. It doesn't feel like they're at that level right now, and it feels a little bit, while LSU's done it a different way, that's where LSU is right now, where you're at the top of the mountain. Tennessee wants to be there, has been there, never won.
Tennessee's never been
there. I don't know about the top.
No, I'm talking about in regular season. Like, where you were talked about all year as the number one team in the country. That's what everybody was talking about Tennessee baseball last year. And whether it was because of how they handled the situation and how they were so brash,
it just didn't happen.
Right. Then you get to Omaha, and baseball's a funny game. You go 2-2 and you're gone. Or you don't even
they didn't get there. They never got it. Notre Dame beat them there.
Yeah, you don't even get to a super, right?
No,
they lost the super. They lost super at home to Notre Dame. Now this is after, like I said, starting the SEC play, going 17-1.
Right.
Remember, we talked about it a year, like, hey, if you get to 20 wins in SEC play, it gives you a good shot at winning the SEC title. Where if you got to 20 wins last year, you were still 5 games behind the team that won it, because they had 25 wins in conference play last year, which is unbelievable. Right. So, like, they put up all of those numbers and then still did not get out of their super regional.
Right. And it happens.
Yeah, exactly. It happens. But the way that I think that the way that they went about it made it seem like almost it was easy to point and laugh, because they were trending to be like, oh, it feels like they were shooing to win the national championship. The way that it's going for LSU, it feels like now they have the target on their back, and when you bring in a team like Tennessee who wants to be that team, that's where I think you're going to see a lot. It's going to be early and often with the animosity. There's going to be a lot of chirping back and forth in the dugout. I don't know, whenever you saw, you can go back as far as, or as soon as last weekend with the umpires with Trey Morgan, they're going to have their hands full with trying to police these two teams as to...
Well, that's what I want to see, right? Like, I want to see the game be about the game, right? I don't want it to turn into this circus of... And now listen,
Tennessee, that could be to their advantage.
But being a chippy is fine, right? Yeah. And having a little, like, going back and forth, that's fine. But, like, for it to be this whole circus and, like, you take away from what you're actually seeing on the field, like, that's not what I want to see, right?
I alluded to it. I think it was one of the last questions I asked Jay on Monday, if you were here and you watched the show Monday. I asked him about that, and he gave us an answer, which I think is a very true answer, but I know there is no way in hell he didn't give more or isn't going to give more to that locker room before they actually start this series. Because at the end of the day, getting chippy, taking things outside of baseball, realistically is taking away what they set out to do this year. Really doesn't matter, right? If you can't, at the end of the day, get the win, and all we're worried about is matching their chippiness, matching their bullshit, matching that, well, then you've let them take you away from what you're trying to do.
No doubt.
Right? And whether they are the team that beat you in this series or not, they're taking you away from what you set out to do this year. And they're just another team that's on the other side of it trying to beat you in that sense.
For sure. And I can see, I mean, for me, and this is what I'm trying to, I'm going to predict the way Skeens is on the mound, like the intensity and the way he kind of like has that swagger and he dominates and he does these things. Like, I already know somebody on Tennessee's team is going to get butthurt because they got blown away by a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, or they struck out on a borderline call. It's probably a good call or whatever. And they get punched out, and Skeens is walking back to the dugout, and he's kind of looking in there and not really talking shit, but just kind of like doing his deal. The guy's going to get butthurt. He's going to be chirping. And then the minute they get a hit or whatever, they're gonna do. That's how it's gonna escalate because they just don't like when somebody's dominating them. And that's hey, bro, this guy's good. Like it's okay.
But saying if you watch it really close to, if you've watched games this year, I get the feeling from what I've seen, he's never really like the antagonist that starts it.
He's not directing it towards the other.
No. When people start chipping at him is when you get the swagger reaction and him smiling and laughing and then still dominating you. Other than that, he's been all business.
Mm-hmm.
So you know he's going to get that from the other side. And like you said, it may very well start by someone getting blown away by something they didn't, and they don't like that they got blown away by it. And that may start the chippiness, right? And so we'll see how it goes from there. But that would be something to pay attention to because you're going to have Skeens obviously going tomorrow night at home with the home crowd, so he's not really getting it from the crowd, right? It's going to be coming from the other dugout for the most part. See where it goes. See how it starts and where it goes. But I'm sure you're going to get something from that dugout.
Yeah.
It's how do you react and how do you actually play under that situation.
There is no doubt that if Tennessee hits, and it might not be off of Skeens, but if they ever hit a home run, you know they're going to do the arms cross celebration.
Probably.
That's
or
how
they do
it
their
is.
celebration. You know, I don't know what their celebration
But
is.
but that's what I'm saying. That's the way that this game is going to go.
Yeah.
Where it's like you're taking shots at each other the entire time, whether it be, this is what
see,
they
what
do,
I-
so we're going to do it.
And what I hope
It's so
that-
petty.
Right, and I hope
And they haven't played
LSU
yet.
doesn't take shots at them.
I don't think they will.
Me either. That's not their personality. You know what I mean? Like you adopt the personality of the leaders on your team, right? Jay's personality is not that. He's very all business, all about baseball, whatever. Dylan Cruz's personality is not that. It's, hey, I'm the best player on this team, and I'm going to show you that I'm the best player on this team, and you're either going to follow me or you're not, but I don't need to tell you that I'm the best because I'm just going to show you, right? Skeens kind of has that same mentality, right? Tommy White kind of feels like now may have a little bit more
the most
swagger to
flamboyant
him,
of them.
but like he knows he's good, right? You don't feel like you have that guy who's just going to instigate something just to do it, and that just doesn't fit the personality of LSU. So I don't think that they're going to go out there and talk a bunch of shit to Tennessee for no reason. Now, if Tennessee comes back and LSU does something, they may give a little jab back to them, but I don't know if it's going to be as
I get the
full-blown.
feeling from watching them so far this year that they are not afraid to respond to your bullshit, but they are about their business first.
Right.
And if you give it to them, they're not going to necessarily just ignore it. You will probably get something back, but they're not going to first and go out there. It's really, really team first
Right.
and foremost. And then you end up getting some response back, which at the end of the day, I don't dislike at all.
No, I have no problem with that.
I don't dislike it at all.
Me either. I have no problem with
That's
that.
the part of college baseball is the
part of
passion of it
baseball,
all.
anything.
Yeah.
It's a part of competition, bro. We
Right.
can go take it. We can go play a pickup basketball game over here and we pick teams. Chances are, if you've been talking the whole time, if I hit a 3-pointer in your face, I'm probably going to at least stare at you.
Right.
Right? Like that's a part of competition everywhere. If you're probably quiet, a good chance I might not say anything. I think Tennessee's the one that they go play pickup basketball, and as soon as the game tips,
Oh, pregame.
they're just here. Good or not, they just happen to be a better team
Right.
that's doing it. Right? And I say not better meaning like a good team that's gonna
Right.
chip and talk before the thing even starts. And I think that's what you're kind of looking at this weekend.
I guess the best way to sum it up would be like the Draymond Green. Did you see that last night where he's talking to Herb Jones and Herb Jones goes, "Bro, they're taking you out the game right now." And he was like trying to get chippy with him. He's like, Herb's like, "Bro, you're not even in the lineup right now." And it's like that's what it feels like
And
with
that's after
LSU
Draymond
Tennessee.
gave the little slide by, like
Yeah, he
bump on
nudged
him.
him on
He
purpose.
did.
He's like, "Bro, you're getting pulled."
Yeah, you're done. Go sit on the bench.
Yeah.
Tennessee's the Draymond to the Steph and Clay's on the same team right now.
Yeah. That's like
That's basically what you're getting.
that's like Caitlin Clark. You see that video of the point guard from, I guess, was it Louisville they played?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And she was talking shit to Caitlin Clark, and Caitlin Clark goes, "Y'all are down by 15. Shut up."
Shut up.
You know what I mean? Like
Draymond made a quote last night too. I actually did see this post game that he said it takes something around the likings of it takes a special man to still talk shit when you're down 20. I feel like that's who Tennessee is. Whether they're up, down, game hadn't started, game is over, you're gonna hear from them. You're gonna see them do some shit that doesn't necessarily rub you the right way. How do you respond to it in the right way on the other side is where you go now.
no doubt. And here's the other thing, right? Here's a aspect of the game that I think is gonna be interesting. We touched on a little bit before the show started. Was Tennessee's 36 of 43 in stealing bases, right? Stealing bags, base stealers are very there's not very many of them anymore. Teams don't
until tomorrow
push
night,
it.
but
Right.
that's a different story.
Right.
That's a different story. Until tomorrow, but that's a different story.
But they don't push it, right?
Yeah.
Like they're not saying, hey, we need to steal bases, we need to do this. Now, some teams do. Obviously, Tennessee does. They have 36 bags, right? And so that's going to be an interesting dynamic, right? Obviously, Paul doesn't pitch out of the stretch much because he doesn't have a lot of guys that get on base. But when they do get on base, right, what's the running game going to look like? How is he going to control it, right? It's going to put more pressure on Brady Neal, who has been good behind the plate and can catch it and throw it well.
And we'll see if there is a start possibility for Milazzo.
And that's what Lloyd was talking about because of how good he is behind the plate. Now,
got roasted.
when Milazzo was it Sunday or Saturday? The second game on Saturday when he was catching?
Had to be.
This man was tackling balls behind home plate. I'm confused. I was confused at what was happening. Like he was jumping at everything. It did not look good. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if he wasn't couldn't see the ball or what, but that was pretty crazy to me. I've never seen somebody be that jumpy behind the plate.
Well, he probably feels like he's battling for his job.
Yeah, but that doesn't make you jumpy.
You could try too hard.
Yeah, but that's not.
We've seen a big sample from him.
That wasn't
Hadn't
a trying
really
too
him do
hard.
that.
That wasn't a trying to. Like his thing is, I'm good behind the plate. I'm gonna receive it well. I'm gonna throw it well. It was a weird thing, and I don't know what. I haven't talked to anybody. I haven't asked. It was something I've never seen him do, so I'm not sure why he was doing it. If there was a vision issue, if there was, I don't know what. But with the running game aspect from Tennessee, it's going to be interesting to see how they control that and what they do defensively to kind of combat that. Right, so. That's a different part of it.
And it's all contingently, especially on Thursday.
You gotta get on base.
With Paul Skeens.
Yeah, you gotta get on base to be able to run. Can't steal first.
I do think this is one of those situations, though, like you talked about last year, a couple of weeks ago when you're saying, what do you want behind the plate and how you do it? I do think that if somehow Tennessee's able to take one of those first two games, they might, if it's been low scoring, there might be a good chance you see Milazzo play Sunday. Might be a good chance you see him play Friday. I do if they lose on Thursday, might be a good chance you see him play Friday. I do think that if they're running a lot and say for whatever reason they're able to get on, whether it's by walk, hit, pitch, whatever it is, they're getting runners on Thursday night and they're getting bags and they somehow come away with the game. It's a good chance you might see them on Friday in the sense that knowing like, hey, we have to shut that running game down and we need a win.
Yeah,
he may be one of the better options for it to get in the lineup and get a start in that spot.
Because he hasn't been hitting poorly either. Like he's been
he's putting good swings on balls.
Yeah.
Like he's swinging well, right? So like he hasn't done anything to take himself out the lineup. What do you think the lineup's going to look like, right? Because we've seen, different lineups, different.
I know what I would like to see.
It's righties, right?
I know what I would like to see. I think what's going to happen again is you're going to see Gavin at the top of it, and I think you see Kling re-enter into that either 8 or 9 spot again, like he was at other times in the year when he wasn't leading off. I just don't see – it's hard for me to believe that you'll see him for the most part kind of out of it for 2 weeks in a row on an SEC weekend.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
And I'm saying this, but like you said, it's all righties. And
Belosso's been playing well.
Played well.
You have Pearson's and you have
Jobert. Beloso, Pearson, and Jobert, all lefties. Pearson's been a very good at bat as a lefty. Beloso's been hot. Jobert is literally a walking homer. He might run into one any. So you don't know. It's just hard for me to believe that he won't be in there.
I think for sure Pearson's in the lineup because I think with the velocity and the stuff that this guy's got, I think that Pearson being able to get the bat to the ball and getting on base and doing the things that he's been doing up to this point, I think he gets in the lineup. I think. Does Beloso stay in the lineup? I mean, he's hot.
I was about to ask.
He's hot.
It's possible. It's very, very possible.
You know what I mean?
Possible.
And
those three guys they're gonna play a big part in the weekend. I'm not exactly sure they're gonna play, and I wouldn't be surprised either this weekend for sure, to see Jay go to in tight situations, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning games, if they're tight, to go to pinch hit at bats more often this time.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially because of how those guys have played, and because those guys are 7th inning. Those guys have been a lot of righties in that in that staff and that bullpen.
And that's what I was going to ask: is how much do you? Obviously, we're making a big deal out of the series. What Tennessee's ranked 9 or 10, depending on what poll they want to look at. But how much do you lean on experience in a series like this, where you put in a Cade to where you don't have somebody that feels like, maybe overwhelmed by the moment? Cade's been there before. He's been there a hot minute.
Yeah.
Same thing with Cruz. Same thing with Garrett Edwards. They all played against Tennessee in the Super Regional and Paul's last year. They were freshmen, I believe.
So I do think experience matters sometimes.
Especially with the temperament around this game.
Right, but I think that it's at home. I think it's early in the season. I think that the guys, no matter who's playing, is going to be ready, right? I think the experience helps in a sense, but I don't think it's going to be that so much of an advantage that I have to put them in the lineup, right? If it's like neck and neck, like, hey, man, this one I don't know, maybe it's going to take the advantage, but it's not going to trump somebody who Jay thinks is a better matchup with Chase on the mound.
But I will say this, because I think the experience thing comes back to a big factor right here. You're not wrong about that at all, but I think one aspect you're forgetting about it is you're sitting at Tennessee's 3-3 and LSU's 4-2. You win another series and get to 63. Hell, maybe you get to 7-2. That puts you in a very, very good spot going forward, right? As opposed to playing younger guys who you may think is a better matchup, and or maybe who you think could possibly, I am going to need them down the road. They need to play in these situations. You could get the more experienced guys, the guys who are hotter right now in a sense of this is a huge series for them to win, that they need to win to be able to propel them forward and put them in a good spot. So it's possible experience could play.
Right, and here's the other side of it, right? Like we want to look at the swings and you want to look at matchups.
Yeah.
Chase Dollander has a ton of velo. Throws the ball extremely hard, right? Now, I don't know what the analytics are saying, but I see it and I'm watching, like, does Beloso have the bat speed? Is that something that plays? Does he play into a high velocity guy? I like Cade a lot. I think Cade's very good. I think he's huge for this team, and I think he's played very well. But my only question would be, and this is something that Jay would know, and this is something that they have analytics for, is what is his average and what does he hit? How does he hit against high velocity? Because you're going to get that, right? And if it's not something that Jay wants to deal with, or says, okay, it may not be the right matchup, then I can see him, putting him in the bench, maybe come and get a pinch hit at bat. Maybe a guy comes in off the bench, throws a bunch of breaking balls, and this is what you want. But I believe that Trey's going to play first, right? I don't think he's going to play left. I think he's going to play first, which means Jared Jones, if he's in the lineup, which I'd imagine he's going to be, hit a home run yesterday.
Right.
He's going to DH.
And it was the other way.
Right? And so I'd imagine that he would DH, which means you're not going to put Beloso in the outfield. So that leaves the 2 outfield spots open. And I believe Pearson's going to be one of them. And so that leaves the other spot, whether it's going to be Jobert or Kling. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what he does.
Depends on Kling's health, too, it feels like. I
think he's healthy.
They got him in there last night.
Yesterday, yeah. He started yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, but they got him in there over the weekend, too. So
right.
You could be right about it. If he's healthy, if he's ready to go.
It just feels like some of these...
I really would love to see if we're going to have Ackenhausen. I said it correctly? Mm-hmm. If he's going to be available for the weekend. He would be a huge addition again for matchup situations, obviously. And obviously, not just matchup. He's been dominant this year.
And speaking of being like lefties and being back, he's not going to be back this weekend, but Javen Coleman threw a bullpen. And he was up to 91 in the bullpen. And that's a good sign. I mean, he's coming off a TJ.
That's early, too.
It's early. He's coming off a TJ, so I'd imagine that he'd be ready towards the end of the year, SEC tournament stuff, right? They're not going to rush him, maybe the last couple series, but that's another lefty that you have in your arsenal coming out the bullpen who is very good and very effective. So that's
it's weird, too, because as good as the bullpen has been, they've had some, little icky spots already. You're also seeing how big the loss of Grant Taylor was, right? And so I would imagine they're not going to rush him. But they would love – because earlier I spoke on, man, like, do you put him out there or do you not burn any of his eligibility and give him another year? Now you're thinking, well, if he's ready to go, we could hugely use another.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. And speaking of the bullpen, right? You had Christian Little threw 2 innings yesterday, looked good. Now, competition is a little different yesterday than it's going to be on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But he threw 2 innings, so I'd imagine he is not available. Maybe available for an inning or something tomorrow.
If they need it. I would imagine he's more in play for Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
Maybe even back-to-backs in that situation.
And that's my question, right? So him not being there, does that give the opportunity, and it's a tight game, does that give the opportunity to Garrett Edwards to close? Does that give the opportunity to Griffin Herring to close?
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like
maybe.
You know, like
you got some capable
Chase
arms back
Shores
there. The thing is you know, like I know, man, like, and I don't pitch, but I've just seen it enough. The closing mentalities, it's just different.
Yeah.
And to have guys that can come in knowing, and it really doesn't matter if there's runners on or not, knowing that strikes have to be thrown and they have to be thrown now. And I have to be able to live in the zone and actually be able to somewhat dominate the zone, right? Mm-hmm. It just takes a different mindset to be able to come in. So you could have all the stuff in the world, but putting you out there in that basically pressure-packed situation over and over and over again will expose you, right?
No.
It'll expose if you got that kind of dog in you or if you don't, right? And I'm not saying any of the guys that have gotten the chance so far don't, but no one's stuck at it.
Right.
So we'll see. I think it's going to be open for a possibility of Griffin late. It's going to be open for a possibility of Garrett Edwards late. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean the bullpen.
Chase Shores is still back there as well.
The bullpen's going to be huge this weekend, right? It's going to be, can the starters get you through 6? Can they get you 6? And perfect situation. Skeens goes 7. They only got 2 innings, and every other starter gets through the 6, right? That's perfect situation.
I will tell you this too. When we're talking about the starting pitching, especially for LSU, I do really, 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 truly think that this is not the type of lineup that you want to have 30 pitch innings against for the starters.
No.
You are not. It is going to be very, very hard for you to have a 30 pitch inning and then be able to go out there and still be able to shut down through the rest of it. The lineups, I won't say it's too good, but they are some veteran guys who have experience, who know what they're doing up there. And they're a talented group.
No doubt. They are. They're very good. Now, listen, people want to talk about LSU striking out too much. They don't strike out that much. I think we
put that to
nixed
rest.
that, right?
Yeah.
LSU for the season, they have 148 walks and 190 strikeouts as a team. Tennessee, as a team, has 146 walks and 215 strikeouts.
Yeah.
That tells me they're not really afraid to strike out, right? They're getting on base. They have a .411 on-base percentage as a team, right? So you have 3 starters that are strikeout pitchers in the rotation. And if they feel like they're on and they're locating and they're doing what they need to do, they have an opportunity to go out there and get some punch outs and not have a lot of pressure put on the defense. Because in a game like this, in a series like this, defense is going to matter, base running is going to matter. The little things are going to matter. Mm-hmm. You saw that happen last Friday when you played a really good team. You have a tight game. It's pretty evenly matched. Both pitchers are throwing really well. It's 1-0. And you had 2 blunders on the base paths that may or may not have given you a run. You don't know. You just didn't give that guy an opportunity to get a hit or show you that he can drive the guy in. They have been very good with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. They have been very good this year in that situation. Both times, the bat got taken out of the player's hands. So you see those 2 blunders, and then you see you lose a little bit of the feel for the ball or the pitches you're trying to throw, and you start walking some guys, and all of a sudden the 1-1 game in extra inning turns into a 9-1 game, and it's not even close, right? So it's the little things in these games that make the biggest difference, and can't afford to have the base running mistakes, which they haven't had a lot over the year. They only had a couple.
They can't show up this weekend.
Yeah, it's just the higher the level of the competition goes, and the more that's at stake, the more you have to be locked in into those situations, and so.
Can't have the defense falter this weekend.
Right. Either. Defense and base running. I want the pitchers, if they're gonna beat you, they have to beat the guys on the mound. The guy on the mound can't beat himself. That's what I want to see. Right? They can't give up free passes. They can't hit a bunch of dudes. They can't
keep getting
bad counts.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And so you have to go out there and pitch to you what you need to do and get ahead and make these guys beat you. Make them hit, make them get on base, and make them earn their way on. I think that if you do that, I think LSU wins the game because I think that top to bottom, they're the better team.
Yeah, I think. You said it. You're saying things that are super simple, but I think when you have highly talented, very, very even matchup, if you will, type teams, those are really the things that it comes down to. Simple shit. Being able to pitch ahead in counts. On the offensive side, being able to not get in pitchers counts and stay in hitters counts. They matter, right? You get in the spot off of Dollander and or off of Skeens and it's 0-2. There's probably a good chance you're not going to succeed in that bat.
No doubt.
Switch it around, you got a better chance, right? So being able to do those things, being able to catch and throw it on defense, being able to make the right plays and right reads on the base paths, not running into outs, not ending innings on the base paths, it's going to matter a ton this weekend.
Yep.
As opposed to, I guess, having the 12 strikeout game and or the 2-3 homer game. On the small things is what's really going to matter this weekend.
And who's going to get to the bullpen first, right? Like, how quickly can we get him out, get Chase Dollander out the game, and get to their bullpen and burn their bullpen, right? And how quick are they going to try to get to our bullpen and burn our best arms early on, and so they're not as sharp or ready or available later on in the series. That's going to be a big key too. So it's going to be fun. We got a lot more baseball. We're talking baseball pretty much the whole show today.
Oh my God!
There's really no way around that.
Biggest series of the
year so far, for sure. And then, I don't want to say it's the biggest series of the year because
you don't determine.
You don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what happens if, they start tanking after they get swept against us and someone else gets hot and they come in and they, whatever. But, yes, to this point, if this all stays equal.
Well, it feels like this has been brewing for over a year, right? Whenever you saw what Tennessee
2 years.
2 years.
Since they knocked us out, right, in 2021. Super regional, right? Wasn't that the Super?
Yeah.
So beat LSU in the Super, and then last year they were supposed to be the best team, and they, beat LSU in the SC tournament, and it's just.
I tell
2
you
years.
what, LSU messes around and sweeps this weekend. How much steam starts blowing out of the hype train then?
I don't know how much more you can have out of the hype train. It's gonna be a rocket ship. It's not even a train anymore. I think it's just a spaceship.
It's a bullet train at this point.
And look, I'm not in the camp of like the number one team all year doesn't win it. The number one overall seed doesn't win it. Yes, that is true. It hadn't happened since 1999, where number one overall seed has won the national championship. But I only think that matters to the people watching baseball. It's not like the players aren't thinking about that. Like, hey, we're good. We're doing what we need to do. Our job is to go out there and win as many games as we can, and I think that they do that. So I'm excited about the
2 out of 3 considered a success.
Oh yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Every weekend.
If they go 20-10 the SEC and they win every series 2 out of 3, like
even when you play, if you're 6 weekends into the year and you play the team that is literally ranked dead last, 2 out of 3, we win. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row, man. It's really, really hard to do it. Not just in any sport, because baseball is the day you got to do it literally 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
Like in any sport, if you can do it 3 times in a row. But baseball is the only one you do it literally days in a row. It's hard to do, right? So any series, 2 out of 3, success, without a doubt.
Look,
now I'll flip it one more time and say, if you're in that third game, whether it becomes game 1 of the series or game 3 of the series, and you're up 9-2, at
can't blow games.
Don't blow games.
Yeah, right.
But 2 out of 3 is a success.
Listen, if they win 2 out of 3 every series, there's 10 SEC series. That means they have 10 SEC losses. They go 20-10 in conference. They had 1 non-conference loss going into the conference play, so that means they would be 45-11 in the regular season if they win all their midweek games. Let's say they falter in 2 of them. So they are 43-12 as their record. It's pretty good.
What did we say earlier in the year? I think I said 42, and I think you did say like 43.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Like 43. It'd be 43-13 if they did that.
If I remember, I think that's what we said.
And so like that, that's look, we won it. We were 56-17 at the end of the year.
Yeah.
We lost the first game of the SEC tournament, and we lost the game against Texas. We only lost 2 postseason games. So going into the postseason, we had 15 losses. Sweeps are not easy to do.
No,
they're not.
No, I guess my greater point is I don't know if people are expecting a sweep, and I don't think it'll be you have to realize what the level of competition is going to be. It just feels like this has been built up so much that if LSU doesn't sweep, then it's a thing. But I don't think it's there yet with how good Tennessee is. I think that if you take 2 of 3, you have to see that as a win. Now, if it goes the other way, you only win Thursday night when Skeens pitches. That's when you get into a bigger conversation.
Well, it depends on how the games go.
Exactly,
right?
and that's where I was going to get to, like the bullpen issues and some things that LSU has been battling on the back end. We haven't seen Riley Cooper in a minute. And it's just kind of.
And there's some things that teams will do to just win. Like they may just, you can look at it at the end of the game like, oh, they just beat us, right? Like Arkansas,
they emptied the clip.
They won. They won, but like the LSU did some things that hurt themselves. The guys can go out there and pitch well, not walk guys. And Tennessee just have really good bats, puts together some swings, get some guys on, get the big hit, and they just win. Like that could happen too, right? And then you look at it and you say, okay, how did we lose that game? Did we lose it or did they beat us? No, they beat us in that one. Okay, no, we lost. We lost the game because we did this, this, and this. Like that's how you kind of evaluate. Okay, we won. We went 1-2 against them, but did we give away the other 2 games or did they just beat us? Right, and so I don't know.
Well, it just feels like a big prove-it series for LSU because some people have called it like a week out of conference schedule to where obviously they're 10 running everybody. You see.
Well, what do you call the first 2 weeks of SEC play?
I think Jay.
That's what I'm saying.
And I also think Jay nixed that. I mean, Jay came on here and he said Iowa's in first place in the Big Ten.
Yeah, he really did nix it on here.
Sam Houston State's in first place. Kansas State's winning a bunch of games. Texas has won 15 straight. They just beat A&M last night, right, in a midweek game. Mm-hmm. So,
sorry.
What do you?
Where's soft?
Yeah, so I mean, like these guys that we beat or they beat may not have looked the sexiest on paper when they played them, but looking back, damn, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
They weren't bad
historically, but if you look at them right now and what they're doing, they're pretty good.
Right, and so that's the thing is like you look at the names and you look at these soft out-of-conference schedules, you look at maybe the RPI or whatever it was at the time, maybe not good. Well, at the end of the year, let's look back and say, oh, maybe their out-of-conference schedule wasn't that good. And you look at it now.
And I think that's a bullshit cop-out way of looking at the schedule because go back to 2009. What was our non-conference schedule?
I think we played Villanova.
Who did we play?
Illinois. UCF.
Illinois, UCF.
Illinois beat us.
Exactly. We played Villanova, UCF, Illinois, the in-state schools. Where did we go?
Yeah.
Who did we go play? Nobody. We started the year as the number 1 team. We didn't enter the tournament as the number 1 seed, but we ended the year as the number 1 team.
Yeah, so sorry for the people on Twitter who corrected me. We did not go wire to wire.
Yeah.
We started at number 1, ended at number 1. We did not stay number 1 the whole year. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Kind of hard to stay number 1 when you get. What we get swept or lose the series at home to Tennessee.
We lost the series at home. Those are 2 series lost. So Tennessee, who was the last place team in the SEC.
Yeah.
And
Illinois. Lost midweek games to Nichols. Lost midweek game. I think we lost to UNO that year.
No, I think we lost to Northwestern.
Yeah.
Northwestern State. They had a lefty throwing like 97 out the pen. I think he was out maybe even sophomore year.
But that's my point. Like, you want to sit here and say the non-conference schedule has been soft. When is it ever hard?
Right. Right.
For a big school like this, who's nationally ranked, when are they ever that hard?
Yeah, and Jay put them in a situation where they went on the road and played. They had a true road game before SEC, which doesn't happen very often. At Tennessee, they won. I mean, at Texas, they won.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about some of the big non-conference series that we had. My junior year, we played Cal State Fullerton at LSU. We swept them, and I was like, damn, like we're gonna be good. We're young. Obviously, like we had some growing pains. We're 36-20, but we weren't bad. We didn't make the postseason because we were the 9th team in the SEC. Yeah. But unless they come to you, historically LSU just didn't go out and play these top tier teams, right? And so,
well, everybody wants to come here because it's like you need those northern schools.
Well, yeah, and the SEC so
outside
hard.
Of the last, I mean, think about it. Outside of the last, I would say once, maybe what was it? Tyrann Matthews' junior year when West Virginia came here.
Was that 2000? No, it was sophomore year.
Sophomore year.
Yeah.
Around that time was probably around the first time you even really saw. I mean, we played Virginia Tech. I guess we had a big matchup here, but you don't even really see it in football either with big schools like this. You might get one, right? But it's not normal for the non-conference schedule to be some gauntlet in a conference like this.
Yeah.
It's not a thing.
Yeah. The only thing with football that's different is that they do like the opening weekend because they want to make.
That's
it a
why
draw.
That's why I just named because that didn't start until around that time. That wasn't a thing before that.
We'll
continue this conversation in about 1 minute because Kendall Rogers is in the on deck circle. He's ready to come on the show. We appreciate that. We don't want to keep him waiting. So give us 1 minute. You're watching Mik'd Up. We'll be back with all of your college baseball, more of your college baseball talk, more of your SEC baseball talk, and let an outsider who's not biased like we are give his take on what this series is and what it's going to mean to college baseball. We'll be back in 1 minute. You're watching Mik'd Up. Shout out to, like I said, we talk about us getting new partners, new sponsorships all the time. We have a new sponsor, and you've probably seen them on the top left corner in the little little spinner logo. FCO Solutions. Our friends on at FCO, they're out of Lafayette. They're a civil construction company. They specialize in new multi-family construction. Right? If you don't know what civil construction is. It's okay. Probably a lot of people don't understand it. They basically get the land ready to be built vertically, right? I'm giving you a little bit of a construction lesson here. I don't know much about it. I've learned it. I've learned it on the go, right? They specialize in site drainage, site utilities, earthworks, site cleaning, house pads, ponds, demo work, and hurricane cleanup. So they do anything that involves dirt, basically, or the earth. And a lot of that gets done before. It has to be done before you are building whatever development you are trying to build. So our friends at FCO have been fans of the show. They are really, really good people. They are down there in Lafayette. If you know anybody from Lafayette, you do know me. Mitch is from New Iberia. I'll consider that Lafayette's 337 area code.
There you go.
337 area code. They are unbelievable people. They do a very, very, very good job, and they are committed to growing and being the best at what they do. So I just want to give a shout out to our friends at FCO. I know that they listen. Appreciate you guys. We are going to be great partnerships. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Look, there's a lot of other stuff happening in the sports world. A lot of stuff in the NFL. A lot of stuff in Major League Baseball opening days tomorrow. A lot of stuff happening with LSU. But listen, there's a big series coming up. LSU is on top of the college baseball world right now. And who better to ask all of the questions that I can't answer or the questions that you don't believe me and the answers that you don't believe me than Kendall Rogers. Kendall, I appreciate you coming back on the show. Seems like you're going to be a regular guest, and I appreciate that. I love that about it.
Hey, dude, I'll come on here anytime. I will say this, though. It's kind of funny. People on Twitter say all sorts of stuff to us, but I don't think I've seen anything funnier than the guy who's asking if you play a level of baseball over T-ball.
Yeah,
that was. Tell me you don't know anything about college baseball when I tell him you don't know anything about college
baseball. Yeah, that
one
was a little tough. Some people put their foot in their mouth, and I was like, I was trying to be very nice, and I appreciate you coming to my defense there. I really do, because sometimes it's not as easy to defend yourself. I appreciate that. Thank you.
That was hilarious. I think I was laughing for about a minute and a half over that. That was great.
Yeah, it was tough. You know what? It's okay. It happens. It's all part of it. I'm sure the guy went back and regretted his decision, but
just hit Google once.
It's okay. It's okay.
Muted himself.
Baseballcube.com. Try it out there.
Yeah, no doubt. It's there. It's always there. Internet's a great place. Man, I appreciate you coming on again. There's obviously a huge series this weekend in Baton Rouge. Tennessee comes. LSU is what Tennessee was last year, right? Tennessee had all the hype. LSU has all the hype. Greatest team in the history Tennessee was. They obviously didn't win it. They were super talented. In my opinion, and this isn't a knock at Tennessee, I would say the same thing about LSU this year if they don't win the whole thing. Can't be considered the greatest of all time if you don't win the national championship. That's just my opinion, right? As far as,
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, yeah, without a doubt. It's kind of crazy, but they're one of the best overall teams in the last 50 years in college baseball, and they have pretty much nothing to show for it. It's kind of crazy.
Right. And now they kind of start off a little rough in the SEC. Tennessee got swept. Then they swept A&M. They look like they're playing a little bit better. They come in ranked 9th or 10th, depending on the poll that you're looking at. LSU is still the number 1 team in the country. What can fans – because I'm a fan this weekend, right? I am looking forward to watching these two teams play because of the talent and because of the high level of baseball that we're going to see. What can fans expect to see from the players on the field Thursday, Friday, and Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this from the Tennessee perspective just because we talk about LSU so much. But, I mean, I think from the Tennessee standpoint is I'm really intrigued to see Chase Dollander, their Friday starter, against LSU's lineup. I think if you look at Dollander last year, he was phenomenal. And, Dollander came into the season as easily really the number 1 pitcher in college baseball. Now Paul Skeens has taken that torch, and he is easily the number 1 pitcher in college baseball. So you would think in a competitive nature that Dollander would be a little jacked up this weekend. Like, everybody's talking about him coming in the season. Now everybody's talking about the dude you're going against. And so I think Dollander will be amped up. I think the biggest thing for me when I look at the series just from a kind of a 30,000 point of view is you look at Tennessee's rotation versus LSU's lineup, because I do think Tennessee can score some runs on everybody but Paul Skeens and LSU's pitching staff. But the big key in this whole series is whether Chase Dollander, Chase Burns, who's got an electric arm up to 96, 97 with a wipeout slider, and then Drew Beam is our Sunday guy. Can those 3 guys give Tennessee 5 or 6 innings? And then all of a sudden, I feel like Tennessee's gets into a game that they want to be in, because they can go to the bullpen and they can turn things over to guys like Camden Sewell, Kirby Cannell, Andrew Lindsey, is a big-time arm with the 97, 98 on the bullpen. So Tennessee's game is they want these starters to go 5 and 6, and they'll be able to mix and match out of the bullpen, because they can mix and match with pretty much anybody in college baseball.
How's Tennessee's offense? Obviously, you said they can score. You believe that they can score against LSU's pitchers outside of Paul Skeens, right? And obviously, both the guys this weekend are really good. They're both potentially first-round picks from LSU's rotation. What makes them so good? What do they do well offensively, Tennessee I'm talking about, to make them scary and to make you feel like they can put runs up against the guys this weekend?
Yeah, I think what's really interesting about Tennessee is they're way different than they were last year. I thought last year this is the offense that was very much predicated upon the long ball. I think it was 6 or 7 guys last year had double-digit home runs for Tennessee, and I think like 4 of those guys had over 14 home runs. That has not been the case for him so far this year. Blake Burke has 10 bombs. Griffin Merritt, a transfer from Cincinnati, has 7 bombs. But other than that, I mean, they haven't really racked up a lot of home runs this year, so they're not as explosive. But this is still a solid lineup. If you look at their series against A&M over the weekend in Knoxville, they got off the really hot start against the Aggies in all 3 games offensively. They kind of cooled off after a hot start, but still, this is an offensive battle. So to keep an eye on Zayden Denton, the Alabama transfer. He got off to a little bit of a slow start, but has kind of gotten in the groove over the last couple of weeks. He's got power. He's got when you look at his frame, you can tell there's a lot of power generation potential in there, even though he's only got 5 bombs. But, he's hitting 316. He's gotten much better the last couple of weeks. I think when you look at the balls, I think the biggest thing for LSU, you're trying to keep Jarrett Dickey and Blake Burke from beating you. Both those guys, you just have massive raw power, and when those 2 guys get going, the rest of the lineup kind of follows suit. And the other guy I'm kind of interested to see this weekend is Maui Ahuna. Often the heralded transfer out of Kansas. He's been good so far. He hasn't been great so far, and so you're really kind of just waiting for Maui's kind of breakout weekend in the SEC. Will it be this weekend? I don't think so. But, I mean, he's one of those historical that you can look at the end of the weekend and go, oh, man, this was kind of the weekend that he became an absolute dude, for Tennessee.
When you look at the stats on the year so far, it's easily seen that Tennessee's run a whole bunch more than LSU has run so far. Do you think that Tennessee will have a huge emphasis on trying to get the running game going if they can get guys on to try to move them over, because they haven't been as explosive as an offense as we've seen in the past from them?
I mean, if I'm Tennessee, I'm being very aggressive, especially, outside of Paul. And actually, let's just start with Skeens. I think if you're Tennessee, you're going against Skeens, you want to find a way to get him out of his rhythm. It's not easy, but I mean, there have been an inning or 2, against A&M early on that first inning. They didn't end up doing anything with it. But, that first inning against A&M, his command got a little off for a couple of batters against Arkansas. He had one of those innings as well. And so if you're Tennessee, you got to take advantage of that against a guy like Skeens. So if you get guys on base, see if you can get Skeens to lean in a little bit. See if you can get him a little out of his comfort zone. And I think, the rest of the weekend, guys like, and I haven't seen Jay's official rotation, but I'm assuming they're sticking with the same guys, and Ty Floyd and Thatcher Hurd, is I think if you're Tennessee, that those guys have a lot to prove. Like, they're kind of fighting to keep their job, so to speak. And so I think anything you can do to kind of get those guys out of the groove is beneficial if you're the Vols. And so, I expect them to be very aggressive. And Jared, that's a really good point. Like, we talked earlier about how they're a much different team. They're having to find different ways to score this year, whereas last year it's kind of like, hey, let's get a couple of guys on base, and then Drew Gilbert will hit a bomb or something like that, and that's kind of the way the offense rolled last year.
So LSU really hadn't had many hiccups, really this year, right? You look at their team, they're unbelievably offensively. Their pitchers, their starting pitching has been very good. Their bullpen has been good for the most part, except for the Sunday game at A&M and the end of the game at Arkansas, right? Christian Little faltered a little bit both times. He threw some, kind of lost control of what he was trying to do, walked some guys, put himself in a bad situation.
Yeah.
Are you concerned at all with the back end of the bullpen from LSU, and do you see somebody else kind of making that jump and getting an opportunity to be that closer instead of Christian Little?
I'm not concerned, really. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I think, Christian Little aside, there's been some times where he's been a little up and down. Certainly, against A&M, I actually thought his stuff was pretty good, but the command wasn't great after a couple of batters. But the thing about LSU is that they have other options. Like, if Christian Little doesn't work out, Chase Shorts has an electric arm. Nate Ackenhausen's a guy that, I actually haven't seen if he's back this weekend, but, he missed last weekend, and he's a lefty that when I saw him in the fall, it was a really nice breaking ball. The fastball's up to 90-91. And, he's a guy that I would really count on if I'm, Jay Johnson. And then, there's kind of the other guy here, and Garrett Edwards. Edwards is a guy that I actually feel like has a chance to mold himself into a starter at some point. I saw him carry his velocity against A&M for, 60-something pitches?
Yeah.
And he was holding, 90, 93, up to 94, 95 with that nasty change and a breaking ball. So I actually kind of feel like, he can move into that role if they really need him there, but I think they really like him with that long relief. But, if anything, I think Garrett Edwards has made, a really nice pitch to be considered in the starting rotation. So I guess the long answer here is, even if Christian Little doesn't work out, they've got enough options at the back of that bullpen.
Now, outside of Dylan and Tommy, because I think those are two very easy answers, right?
Yeah.
When you look at this LSU lineup, who's been, I won't even say the most surprising, but who's been the most impressive hitter outside of those two?
I really like what I've seen from Gavin Dugas. I think when you look at him, and I just kind of go back to his overall story, right? Like in the offseason, I think a lot of LSU fans expected him to move on, like Brody Drost and, Collier Cranford and guys like that. And, he is a dude that stayed put. He said, hey, you know what? I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to give him one more ride. But he's really been the best of it. He's been a really consistent hitter. He's getting walks. He's getting on base. His OBP, guys, is over 500 right now. So I think for me, I did not see Gavin having that kind of year. And so I give him a ton of credit. This day and age, and I'm not just bagging on guys in general here, but in this day and age, there's so many players like that. And taking their ball and going home is probably a bad way to put it, but there's so many guys like that that would go, you know what? I'm just going to go to La Tech, or I'm going to go somewhere else where I'm just, where I'm guaranteed to play every day. And that dude stuck to it, stayed in a premier program, and now it's all paying off. Gavin is what I think college baseball is all about.
Absolutely. He's playing second base, and he's errorless at second base. So, that's that says a
phenomenal.
lot. Obviously, outside of the obvious matchup between Dylan Cruz and Chase Dillander, what matchup this weekend are you most excited to watch? Whether it be, Chase versus Skeens, obviously that's the matchup between starting pitchers, or Skeens versus somebody in the lineup of Tennessee, whatever that is. Is there a specific matchup that, you're excited to see and you want to see? Let me see how this guy performs against this other guy.
Yeah, I have two top of mind. The first one is not going to be very tough to pick. I mean, it's Chase Dolander against Dylan Cruz. I mean, you're talking about three guys that a year and a half from now, I think will end up will be in the big leagues. Like I think Dylan Cruz, and it's not easy. It's not often you see a hitter. You know this as well as anybody, but it's not often you see a hitter fast track to the big leagues. I think Dylan Cruz will be big league ready within a year. Like I think he's that damn good.
Is he gonna hit 500 this year?
So here's the thing. It's really hard to hit 500. I don't know how it pays back in the day at Alabama. But so we did our predictions as a staff. I think I had him at 462.
462. How'd you get that? How'd you get that? How'd you get to?
I have no idea. You know what?
Yeah.
I have no idea. But I think somebody told me today that he can go 0 for 60 in his next 60 at bats and he'd still be hitting 300.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. He's unbelievable.
I mean, how outrageous is that? I mean, that's insane.
I mean, he's going into this weekend hitting 542.
The thing about Dylan Cruz that I love, and trust me, Bregman's my dude. I love that guy. But the thing about Alex Bregman is that during his LSU career, people want to compare him to Alex Bregman. The thing about Alex was, let's not forget, guys, there was a point in Alex's career at LSU to where he was scuffling. And he got to the point where, he was deleting social media. He almost, just kind of closed himself off from everything outside because the hamster wheels were spinning in his head a little bit. Dylan Cruz has not had that moment in his LSU career.
Right.
He is a dude that has been the same guy since the day he stepped on campus. And granted, he's gotten better, but he's not deviated from what he is, and that's really impressive.
Look, go ahead.
How many? We're talking about the Alex Bregmans and how Dylan Cruz is playing and how fast you see him going. Not just pro ball guys. How many big leaguers do you think is on the field this weekend?
Oh boy, a lot.
Yeah, no doubt.
So Chase Burns, Chase Dolander, obviously for Tennessee. I do think Jared Dickey and Blake Burke can be big leaguers. I do. I think they have big enough raw power. They need it. I think both those guys need to be a little bit more seasoned overall, but I think they've got potential. I think for LSU. I mean, I could list half the roster. But I don't know if we need to do that right now.
No, yeah, it's fine. I'm with you though. I mean, I think that I don't think people understand how talented, how ready. It's not only that they're talented, how ready they are to be in the big leagues, right? There's, like you said, there's three guys that in a year and a half are going to be major contributors to whatever team they're playing for in Major League Baseball, and that's very rare to see in college baseball. And now the culture of professional baseball has changed a little bit. They push them a little faster, but these guys are ready now.
Yeah, I mean, I would even pose, I know this is your show, but I'd even pose this question to you. You've seen plenty of big league pitchers. Could Paul Skeens be a 2 or 3 guy in a big league rotation right now?
We talked about this.
You just said.
We talked about this on Monday, right? So I think right now, based off of everything that Paul Skeens offers on the mound, I think he's a 3 starter in the big leagues right now, right? I think that he could be.
That's awesome. I mean,
he's throwing. Listen, he has 5 pitches. Well, okay, 3 pitches. 2 of them have different versions of them, right? So he has a 4-seam fastball that touches 102. He's got the 2-seam fastball that go 94, 96 that he front hips lefties with. He's got a 92-mile-an-hour changeup. He's got a big curveball that he throws in there just for shits and giggles, just to get it over sometimes. And then he's got the nasty slider. So he's got 5 pitches that he can throw anytime he wants, whenever he wants, wherever he wants. And to me, and the only reason I say that he's not, I'll say, he's not a number 1 right now or number 2 right now, is strictly because of experience in the big leagues. That's it.
And I guess I would add to that is I literally said the same thing. We posed the question and we both came up with number 3. And my other reason would be not only does he have those 5 pitches, but of those 5 pitches, we've seen him not only have command, but mostly control of all of them. I haven't really seen him lose anything but maybe the 4-seam heater, or maybe the slider at times. But we've also seen him supremely command those at times too.
What's scary about Skeens as well is I thought his slider was okay last year with Air Force. I think it's way better this year, but I think that slider could be even nastier.
Absolutely.
I think he can get a, it's kind of sweepy right now. I think he can make it sweepy and also add a little bit more breaking action to it. I think that could be an even nastier pitch.
No, I 100% agree. Go ahead.
Good. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he just learned that pitch this year from Wes Johnson. Like, I think he talked about it on a podcast with your former teammate, Renato, where he said, I didn't really have a secondary pitch like that. And he said, I worked with Wes Johnson, changed my grip. And so this is kind of his first year with the slider.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I saw him throw it last year in the Austin Regional, but it was not anywhere near what it is now. So, yeah, credit Wes for sure.
Are you you're not going to be here this weekend for the series, are you?
So Mark Etheridge is actually going over there for us this weekend. I've seen LSU like 7 times already this year, so I'm handing the torch to somebody else.
There you go. I'm gonna be at the game. I'm looking forward to it. I was just hoping that I'd have a couple beers with you if you were here, but
I will be there again at some point this year. But I think the last time I covered LSU on that Sunday at A&M, I actually had like a few people tweet at me asking if I'm the new LSU beat writer. So
yeah, you got.
So you had to say, let me get out of here for a
you
little
gotta
bit.
spread the love a little bit from there. Let's shift a little bit. Just a few more questions for you. Just shift outside of just this matchup, and let's just talk about college baseball and the SEC in general, right? We asked you the last time you were on, like, some surprises. Who do you think can be really good, or who do you think is surprising you so far in the SEC? But as far as college baseball is concerned, what have you seen through the landscape of college baseball so far this season, and what has shocked you, and what has been a little disappointing to you?
I think the biggest thing for college baseball right now is the erratic nature of it. Right now we're about 900 home runs over where we were this time last year. That's astronomical, in terms of the number. I think the other thing for me is the number of blowouts. We had a stat the other day. Last year, 22% of the games were decided by 8 runs or more at this point in the season. So far this year, 28%. So we've got 6% increase in the number of blowouts in college baseball so far this year. So I think that really stands out to me. I think in terms of just, disappointments, I kind of stick in the SEC. Let's start with, Ole Miss and A&M. I mean, they play this weekend. Ole Miss sitting at 0-6 in the league, A&M sitting at 1-5 in the league. These are two teams, obviously, that were in the Final Four in Omaha last year. Actually, Oklahoma, one of the other teams, also has been struggling. I think the overall record of the 3 of the 4 teams, Arkansas being the other one, they're 21-4. But of those 3 teams, OU, A&M, and Ole Miss, they're a combined 43-32 this year. Wow. So I think those teams have been disappointing to me. And I think the other thing for me that's been really cool to see is we've all talked, and for good reason, how good LSU is and how good Florida is. But, I've been ultra impressed with Wake Forest. I mean, this is a team that coming into the season, we all thought they'd be really good, right? But we also had zero reason to think they would be that good just based on history. This is not a program that has a elite winning culture. They haven't been to Omaha since 1950, since before the Vietnam War, and so you know what I mean. You don't have any reason to believe that they'll be this super team. But guess what? They are the super team. They've got one of the top 5 prospects in the country, and Rhett Lauder. They don't even have their second best pitcher for the year, and Teddy McGraw. And yet they're still pitching at elite level. They've got an All-American reliever in Cam Dominacci. And, oh, by the way, outside of LSU, they got the best lineup in college baseball. So they've been phenomenal so far this year. And that's not easy to do as a program like that,
right,
that, would be easy to underachieve, because that's what they've done for many years.
I'll bring you back to the SEC. When you came on last time, you spoke about South Carolina being one of those sneaky teams.
Yeah.
Right? We obviously knew Florida was real. It's obvious that Vandy's real again this year. When looking at South Carolina and Kentucky right now, do you see them as a real threat going forward?
Kentucky, I'm still a little bit iffy on. I mean, I like the start that Nick Mangiona's team's off to. This is a big year for him. He needs to win this year, I think, to keep his job. I've been impressed with them. I do think they caught Mississippi State at the right time, and I do think they caught Alabama at the right time coming off that Florida series. But I do think South Carolina's for real, and the reason why I think that is because last summer, Mark Kingston made no bones about it. He said, "Hey, dude, we're going to follow the A&M model," and the model was, let's go find seasoned bats from all these different programs around the country, like A&M did last year, and let's bring them into South Carolina to kind of turn this thing around. And they've done that. Gavin Casas, the Vanderbilt kickback, has 12 bombs for him right now. Ethan Petrie, granted he's a true freshman, he's not a transfer, but Ethan Petrie, a true freshman, is one of the top home run hitters in college baseball. And then you add to that, having pitching staff with guys like, seasoned arms in the SEC like Noah Hall and Kate Austin and Will Sanders. So they've got a really nice blend of older guys who have, done it at other places. They've got a nice blend of arms who have been proven in the SEC. And they've got some really talented young players. So, again, kind of like Mingione at Kentucky, like Mark Kingston, came into the season where he's got to save his job, and he could not be doing a better job under the circumstances that are pretty stressful, I would say.
Before I let you go, I'm going to ask for your prediction on the weekend. All right.
Okay.
So obviously you got the 3-game series. Who do you think? What is the outcome in the series? And give me the games that you think that they're going to lose or win, or however you want to do it.
I will go LSU win, Tennessee win, LSU win.
Okay.
I'm
that.
I'm not picking Paul Skeens to lose. I mean, Arkansas fans last week were puffing their chests out because, we won their game that Skeens threw. Well, I mean, dude, you didn't beat Paul Skeens.
You scored one run off of him. One run.
Yeah, so I still like LSU in that opening game. I think Tennessee will be a little bit more free swing. I thought Arkansas actually did a really nice job of making him work. Mm-hmm. I think Tennessee's going to be a little more of a free swing, aggressive club. So I like LSU in the first game. I think in the second game, I think this is one that that Tennessee will know it needs to win. I think they'll do whatever they need to do to get that win. And then on Sunday, I just think LSU, for me, is a really tough team to beat on Sunday. I get they lost A&M. But to me, they're a really tough team to beat on Sunday because then you start digging in the back end of the bullpen, and guys like Tommy and Dylan and Trey, they just feed some of those.
Well,
dudes.
that's the thing. Nobody's even talking really much about Tommy White. He's almost hitting 400 this year, which is insane.
Double the amount of RBIs he's played.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too, you know what? It kind of looks like me playing third a little bit, but if I actually made all the plays, it's not pretty. It's not pretty, but he's getting it done. I'll say this. It's not anywhere near as ugly as Jacob Berry was over there.
Right.
It's not even close to that ugly.
No
so
doubt.
He's done a nice job.
No doubt.
And just to cap it off before you go, do you think there's been too much made of this series, or do you see this as the premier matchup of regular season college baseball between LSU and Tennessee?
Yeah, I mean, it's the premier matchup, but I'll say this. I think LSU is going to find itself in a lot of series this year that are going to be considered the premier series.
Right. But
you know what I mean? I think if they – yeah. Yeah,
we may be looking at the same thing when it comes to the LSU South Carolina series.
Right. No doubt. I mean, it's last weekend Arkansas
maybe
was
the
top
series
5.
of the year.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right.
No doubt. And that's a good thing. That's always a good thing because that means you have more eyeballs watching, and that means it's relevance, and it's good for. I think it's great for college baseball. But as always, you're great for college baseball. You're great for the show. I appreciate
it, guys.
I appreciate you coming on anytime. You want to come on? I would love to have you. So I appreciate it, man.
You got it, bro. It'd be great. Yeah, we need to get you in the box against Skeens one of these days and record it.
Oh man! I don't want to swing. I haven't swung in about a year. Give me about 2 weeks to get loose, so I don't tear an oblique, and then we'll figure that out.
Hey, it kind of reminds me, real quick. I don't want to hold y'all up.
No, you're good.
It kind of reminds me a few years ago in Omaha. We, Win Reality had this little simulator where you could go bat against all these different college pitchers. So the guy asked me, he says, "Hey man, do you want to bat against Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" So I get in there. Kumar Rocker, I was actually able to make contact on a couple of pitches that came through. One of them actually hit it like a grounder to short. Dude, Jack Leiter came up on the deal, and I swear to God, I was a foot and a half away from all of the sliders. He literally nasty, could put somebody's shoe in between me and the bat and the ball.
Yeah, the technology they have in baseball right now is pretty insane. I did that when I was in Detroit. They actually started developing that virtual reality.
Yeah,
and I did it, and it was pretty good. And now, that's 6 years ago. It's completely different. I mean, it's crazy. So, these kids have all the tools and resources to be as good as they want to be.
Yeah, no shame on that. On those ABs.
What's that?
I said no shame on those ABs for Kendall.
Yeah, man.
No, of course not. You picked the top two.
It was one of those things. Well, the lighter AB was one of those things where it was so bad that I literally looked around to make sure nobody out there was watching me.
When you swing on the golf course and you shank it and you're like, did anybody see that? No, I'm just gonna drop another one.
You're like, who the hell was that?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
All right, guys, y'all be good, man.
Kendall, I appreciate it, man. Enjoy your weekend.
You got it, Mikey. Y'all be
All
good.
right,
See you,
too.
Jared.
See you.
As always.
I mean, the man knows more about college baseball than I've forgotten.
Literally.
No doubt. And he's great. He understands the show. He's loose. He's energetic.
He was drinking a beer.
I love that. I hope he
Heineken Silver.
I hope we need to send him some.
No.
Make sure he has them. Great interview.
Great interview.
30 minutes for.
I mean, let's be honest. He doesn't miss.
He doesn't miss. He's good. He knows. He's very educated. He does his research. He understands the landscape of college baseball. He understands. It's not just about the SEC, but the SEC is the class of college baseball, and he does a really good job of covering a lot of nationally of college baseball. Now, before we get to Ask Mikey and Mitch, was brought to you by our friends at EVCO Development,
EVCO.
EVCO. I want to give a shout out to another one of our sponsors, Heineken. They've been partners with us for since the inception of our show.
Day one.
Since day one of our show. They came out with a new product, Heineken Silver. It's their light beer. It's equivalent to their version of Michelob. I'm trying to say something to make it relatable. It's 95 calories. It's light. It tastes really good. We are going to have it at our tailgate tomorrow, filled up in the ice chest. If you haven't tried it, come by our tailgate. I'll give you one for free. You drink it. Tell me what you think about it. Maybe we have a couple chugs with Lloyd.
No.
As a preview of the booze cruise throughout the day.
Get you some rest
farm
tonight,
animal
Lloyd.
you can trot out there.
No, you
Some
are.
sleep tonight. Kid.
Okay.
Yeah. Make me a
Make me a bicycle
Make me a
clown.
bicycle clown.
It's really just a dunk tank full of Heineken Silver.
Yeah, that's it. We should do it.
We could.
And you have to drink yourself out of it. Lock you in there.
A murder.
That's it. No, well, I think you could do it. So yeah, I want to give a shout out to our friends out at Heineken. Now, Ask Mikey and Mitch brought to you by our friends at EVCO. We have our questions.
We have our questions.
That's
I mean, it's 7:32. I figure we should start it now, huh?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Y'all touched on a couple of these, but I'm going to send them in anyway just to kind of reset the scene for as where we are, because we hit on a couple of these through the Heineken headlines. But obviously, these are the burning questions in which people think about LSU baseball. Because they are so good, there's not a lot of things to nitpick about. But with that said, first question coming from Hunter Fournette is sent now.
Look at you.
There we go. Ask him. With Beloso swinging a hot stick lately, how would you construct Thursday night's lineup?
And that's I know we had spoke a little bit about that. Look, I think Beloso is a great. The way he's swinging it, you want to have him in the lineup. He's a great asset, but you also want to put him in situations where he's most successful. And I think Jay has done a really good job of doing that. If Jay feels like the way his swing plays, if it plays to Chase Dollander, then I think that he's in the lineup. If Jay doesn't feel like he's somebody that's going to be able to catch up to his velo, I think he's out the lineup. That's kind of my take.
So you think you'll see some moves made, like some lineup tampering a little bit?
I think so. I mean, Jay is not scared to do that. He's shown you that. You know what I mean? He's not scared to put guys in, take guys out, change it up. And so I think you're going to see a little bit of that this weekend.
Yeah. Once again, I think it depends. I do think whether you see Beloso or not will have to do with whether you see Pearson or not. Meaning that,
yeah,
I do think Jared Jones is going to be in the lineup. Whether or not Beloso is going to play, obviously to me is going to be at first base, right?
Well, it'd be DH, I would believe, right? And that
No. But here's why I think Jared Jones is going to be in the lineup.
Right, which have to be first if they have. I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off. Go, keep going.
So if you see Pearson, if you see him in the lineup, to me that means Pearson would be out. That means Trey would go to left and Beloso would play first in that situation if Jones is DH.
Right, or they could flip Jones and Beloso and say, Jones, you play first. Cage, you DH.
Right, one of the two.
And maybe Pearson's
one
out.
of the two. I don't think you see them both in the lineup at the same time. But I do think Friday night, if I had to put a percentage on it, I do think the higher percentage, in my opinion, would go to Pearson over Beloso in
So
this situation.
Thursday night.
Thursday night.
Tomorrow.
Sorry.
It's
Tomorrow
okay.
night.
I know. I did the
Yeah,
same thing.
this always gets me because it wasn't even a thing when we were here.
Right.
It wasn't the Thursday night series was literally only the last series of the year, I think. But I do think if I had to put a higher percentage on it, I think you see Pearson. There's a better chance you see Pearson tomorrow night in the lineup.
I agree.
Than Beloso. But I do think Beloso will play this weekend.
Yeah, I think Beloso's going to have some big moments. Like if it's a close game, some pinch hits, I think he's going to have some opportunity.
Yeah.
All right, next one up, Brandon Ryder, sending it in now. No disrespect to the guys who wear the purple and gold, you two included. Will Dylan be the best position player to ever wear an LSU uniform?
Numbers wise, no, because it's hard to do what someone may do in 4 years that he's going to do in very easily 3 years, right? But if you look at his impact, you look at where he was when he started. Like when he got here, I think it was easy to say 15 games through the season that he might be the best player on the team, right? So you look at the impact that he's made, not now, but from day one that he's been here. I do think that there is a high possibility and a very, very, very strong argument for when he leaves here as the best player that's ever played at LSU.
I agree. And I think that, he's going to play 3 years, and you touched on it, right? He's not going to lead
in homers,
right?
And
he's going to be third. I think that if he gets to 20 home runs this year, I looked at him before the show. He's got 9. He's got 49 career home runs right now to date. If he ends up with 11 more, he's going to have 60. That's going to put him third all-time in home runs at LSU in 3 years.
Eddie Furness.
You have Eddie Furness, and you have Eddie Furness with 80, Brad Cressy with 78, and he will have 60. He will be the third. I believe he's the third. I think I saw that right.
And the other 2 guys are 4-year guys.
Yes. Right. Other two guys are 4-year guys. He's not going to have the highest career average. Well, I guess if he hits 500, that may make a big difference. The highest career average ever at LSU is 393.
Todd, right?
That's Todd Walker, right? Todd Walker had 100 RBIs in the season. He's not like Dylan Cruz is not going to lead in hits. He's not going to have the number one in any of those because he's only been here for 3 years. But I think as an all-around player, yes, I would put him as the best position player to ever wear the purple and gold, just based off what he's done, how consistent he's been. People will talk about, you had Todd Walker, which is I think Todd Walker is probably the best comparison.
Yeah.
As far as player who's like, damn, he did it for 3 years. He was the best player, bar none, on the field, whatever.
Yeah.
People compare him to Alex Bregman. Alex was great. I love Breggy. I think he was an awesome player. I think he played really well. But if you go look at his numbers, his best year was his freshman year. Right? His numbers declined a little bit.
And Kendall talked about it as well.
Right.
Too.
And it doesn't mean that he didn't play well here, but no, he hasn't done anywhere near what Dylan Cruz is doing. Dylan Cruz had 40 home runs going into the year, had 2 years. Right? So what Dylan's doing
You had a great career in 3 years. How many homers did you hit here in 3 years?
35. Hey, I went 7, 14, and 14. 35 home runs.
Well, they also
entered,
neutered you.
Dylan entered season 3 with 40.
Right. And so, my career average was 340 something. Which is great, but it's not like his is gonna be what which is what he does and the type of player that he is and how he's the best.
You got to understand
5 tool.
Yeah, but you got to understand too. This is a very, 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 very tough league because of the jump from high school to college ball and then the jump from high school to SEC play. This is a unbelievably tough league, and to be able to make the jump and basically be a day one starter.
No doubt.
He's pretty much done that.
And that's the thing, right? Like from the day one, you plugged him in as the leadoff 1, 2, or 3 guy in the lineup, and he's so polished. When I was here, I was raw. I wasn't polished. Like I had to learn it on the fly.
Flip it on the other side. This is no slight to him right now. The guy's hitting like 330 something. You can't even say Paxton Kling has done that, right?
That was gonna be
this is what Dylan has done, and it's never been not good, if you will, right? So when it's all said and done, outside of literally just comparing numbers, I do think there is a strong chance.
It's the consistency for me,
Yep.
where you just know what you're going to get day in and day out.
Absolutely.
And the way he has, and his ability to field in the outfield is almost overshadowed by his offense. But if he didn't hit the way he did, you would still be raving about his defensive ability.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Next one up, not as positive because it's hard to get more positive than Dylan Cruz, but Jacob Gaznow. Who's our guy to shut the door at the back end? Not necessarily closer, but someone that you want to see in the 7th and 8th inning.
I think we got a few guys, and I think that the 7th and 8th inning, you're going to start seeing a lot of matchups. I think Chase Shores is going to be one of the guys that comes out, if he doesn't pitch in the 7th or 8th, you're going to see him in the back end of the bullpen. If you don't see Garrett Edwards in the 7th or 8th, you're going to see him in the back end of the bullpen. But I think it's going to be dependent upon what the lineup's what's coming up. Is it lefty heavy? Is it righty heavy? And if it's lefty heavy, you're going to start seeing Griffin Herring getting a lot more opportunity in those situations. Same with Ackenhouse. Like, you're going to see these guys get these opportunities based off of matchups. But I think day in and day out, the majority of the time, you're going to see Chase Shores / Garrett Edwards, and it depends who comes in first.
So I'm going to go, and as the season matures, as we get closer to, really having games that you have to win on the schedule in a sense, right? I think you get closer to seeing Garrett Edwards. And my only reason is because of his ability to throw strikes and his ability to mix with 2 other pitches. Now, that doesn't go to say that Chase Shores, that Christian Little, that Nate Ackenhausen, that Griffin Herring, all those guys, I think you may see them pitch a lot in the 6th, 7th, and 8th inning, right? Which bodes well for LSU because those are 4 really, really, really good arms, and that's not even the entire bullpen, right? I think those 4 guys are going to be very, 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 very integral to what they do going forward, and I think those are the guys that you'll see a lot in the 7th and 8th, but I do think as we get closer to the end of this thing and this thing really goes, I think you see Edwards probably lead the team in saves. Let's just say it that way.
Continuing on that same front, ask him do you think Little can bounce back and Dutton come back dealing from the bullpen? You want to start off?
Yeah, I definitely think Little can, right? I think he can be a very, very, very important part of what they do. I think he is already and still will be a very important part of what they do, even coming up this weekend. Dutton is another one that has the ability. You need to see him throw more strikes. You need to see him be able to get ahead in the count a lot more. I think if he can start showing the ability to do it, this is, literally what I just said by the last question. Like, that's not meaning the whole bullpen. But if he can start showing his ability to pitch in the zone and get ahead in counts, you may start seeing him sneak into that 7th and 6th, 7th, and 8th role and getting opportunities in games like that.
Yeah, I agree. And look, Jay talked about it on Monday. He talked about how much he likes Sammy because he calls him Sammy, right? He likes him on the mound. He thinks that he's competitive. He's very good. Like, he trusts him. And so I think you're going to see him get some opportunity. I do think Little can bounce back. I think, and I'm not a pitching coach, but I will say, like, for me, I want to see Little be able to throw his fastball for strikes and then throw the slider off of that, right? I know he likes the slider, and his slider is good. He's been throwing a lot of sliders, and once you lose control of that and you don't throw your fastball enough, sometimes you kind of lose the feel for the fastball. And so he's got good velo. He can throw to mid to upper 90s. Like, I think that for him to kind of get back on track, hey, all right, let's get back to the basics. Locate with your fastball, throw your slider off your fastball, and let's go from there. You got to throw strikes, and I think that's the only way he bounces back, right? And obviously, Wes Johnson's a whole hell of a lot better of a pitching coach than I am, and so I think he's going to get him right. But for me, that's what I would like to see.
Continuing on the pitching front, especially with the pitching coaches, Fonz Farelli, ask him Does Johnson and Johnson give a longer leash on pitchers because they can see the umpire's strike zone is super small, making them leave pitches over the plate? Because you saw them get squeezed a little bit.
Yeah. So does
Wes Johnson and Jay Johnson
give a longer leash to pitchers because they can see the ump strike zone,
like because they know if they're getting squeezed a little bit that you don't overreact to maybe some walks and such?
I'll go first. I don't necessarily think that has anything to do with it. I think what they do pay attention to, though, is are you executing what you're asked to do, right? Like, if we're asking you to throw sliders and whether or not you're getting the strike call or not, if we're in the vicinity of what we're trying to land and what we're trying to do, I think that weighs way more than what they're actually getting calls on or what they're not, because they can never control that, right? So if we're basing our, I guess, leash on what the umpire is doing, it's going to be really hard to kind of decipher how we want to do that. And do it.
100% agree, and that's exactly what I was going to say, right? Like, all you can control is, hey, this is the pitch that I'm supposed to call, this is the location I'm supposed to throw it. If you're throwing it there or close there and you're not getting the call, that's not on you. That's on the umpire. And look, if you continue to do that, I highly doubt that these hitters are just going to take every pitch you throw.
Right.
And so if you're doing that, they look at how are you controlling the game? Are you staying in control of what you're trying to do? Are you executing? And if you are, that's when the leash comes. I mean, that's when the longer leash comes.
Right.
Next one up. James Bond, asked, how many times will Tennessee step to LSU over the 3 games, only have the ump step in and try to restore control over under 5?
I'm going to go under.
I'm going to go under. I think 5's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm going to go under. I'm going to say 2 at the most.
5's a lot,
But
yeah.
I do think you'll see them chirping a very good amount.
And I think that depending on how the games go on Thursday and Friday, like if they're tight and they're kind of, close at the end and some, maybe an umpire made a bad call or whatever, I think that Sunday game that's when you start seeing really Tennessee trying to step to LSU. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be about baseball. Tennessee's going to try. I think LSU's going to stay within themselves, and it's going to be
over under 5. That's
a lot.
That's a ton.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of not baseball on air.
That's a lot of people throwing at a lot of people.
They might not have anything left in the pen and or on the bench if we got that much going on.
I feel like you're going to see a lot of people outside the dugout, though, at the majority of the
it's going to
time.
be emotional,
no
doubt, but it's going to be a good way, in a good way.
All right, last one up. The cat. Carl the Cat, ask Eminem.
There he is.
Will we not get to see Skeen swing the bat? Because you saw some of the comments from Jay Johnson where he mentioned if you saw him take BP, I'm hard-pressed not to bat him 4th or 5th. But the way he's dealing on the bump kind of found his role.
Skeens ain't swinging. And it's not because he can't, right? Jay has said if Paul Skeens was not a pitcher, he would be the starting catcher hitting 4 or 5 hole in the lineup right now. So it's not because he can't do it. It's because he's so valuable and he's so good on the mound that he doesn't want to put him out there and allow him to get hurt, right? Now I say, well, what about the guy from Florida, Jack Caglione? He's hitting and pitching and doing all this stuff. Of course he is. But I think Skeens is going to be in the big leagues next year. Why risk the opportunity? Why risk him not getting hurt or doing something to where you take him off the mound?
Well, I can give you another reason of why not to risk him that. Did you look at the rest of the roster? Did you see the team that's hitting almost 340 right now? That's why you don't.
Yeah.
Right? Find it a different year. If Paul Skeens entered LSU and was playing at LSU in a different time where that lineup wasn't as potent as it is, yeah, maybe. Even though he's doing what he's doing now and you would hate to see him be lost for a month over an oblique strain, maybe.
Yeah. Right.
But now, no shot.
Nope.
No chance.
Do you think he gets an opportunity to hit in the bigs? Or is this his transition to pitcher only?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I don't know. I think that they're going to have to.
Without him doing it it's going to be tough. That's going to be a tough sell, right?
Yeah.
Like, if we're talking about somebody that's doing it, obviously Shohei's the guy, right? Shohei came over, and that was always the thing. Like, he didn't stop for a year, even though I'm not saying you can't get it back.
Right.
But
I'm sure they want to see him do it in the SEC, not just at Air Force.
Right.
Right. And so if he came here and hit 340 with 12, hey, you're going to be able to do both.
Right.
But instead, he's throwing 102, and nobody's stepping in.
and no one is touching.
Hey, we're going to give you a lot of money, and we're just going to put you in the big leagues, and you're just going to make a lot of money for your career. Is that okay? Yeah, that's okay.
Took a little something off your plate.
I'll sign up for that one. Yeah.
You want one more?
Sure.
And this is something that we touched on a little bit. One more from Fonz. Ask him no. Does Milazzo get more starts because his bat is has become more consistent in his ability to stop pass balls?
I would.
We talked a little bit about this with Tennessee's.
Yeah, we
trying
did.
to run the bases a little bit.
It's nothing against Milazzo, but Brady Neal hasn't done anything to take himself out the lineup. Like, he's been fine behind the plate. He can catch and throw. He's put together some really good at-bats. He had the big homer. He's swinging the bat well. Like, there's no reason to move him out unless, he starts clanking a whole bunch of balls and not being great. Look, there's a learning curve for sure. He's young. But, I don't think that he's done anything to warrant him getting taken out the lineup.
I would say with the large sample size that Milazzo has put out over his career here already, I think he's already done more than we probably ever would have thought he'd be doing this year. And I do think he's going to continue to stay in pretty much the same kind of role. So I would say at this point right now, he's gotten more starts than I ever thought I would see him getting this year because they're deep there as well.
Yeah, they are.
There you go.
All right. That wraps up.
That wraps up. Ask Mikey Mitch, brought to you by EFCO. Ask Eminem. Brought to you by EFCO. We appreciate all the questions. Please continue to send them in every week. I look forward to this segment. Yeah, I do. I look forward to it. It allows. We need to set up the phone lines.
We can set up the phone lines.
Yeah, we need to start doing that.
It's one plug.
Yeah, we need to start doing that.
Yeah.
We need to put the number out. We'll figure that out on the back end for sure.
We'll have Jeff Cavan call in.
Yeah.
That should be great.
Yeah. Oh, one more. Ask Eminem. Orange Easton Composite. Best bat ever made.
Orange and blue?
Mm-hmm.
Best bat ever made.
Did
I
you-
never got
thought
to
you-
use it. I only used it in high school, my senior year. Hit a ball about 115 off of Maddie in the All-Star game off the center field wall, and then that was the only time I used it. It wasn't mine. I had to use somebody else's.
Best bat ever made.
Nothing better than the kid that bought the bat. Like, obviously, you're talking, you know.
I mean, I had my own bat, but
no,
like,
that's what I'm saying. But when somebody bought, you know, like somebody's dad shut out $550 for a bat, like, we're all using this, and it's gonna get buried into the ground.
I didn't
See, if I was on that kid that bat, you ain't touching that.
Yeah,
thing.
nobody. You ain't using my bat. Sorry, buddy.
You could put your
Especially
hands
if
on
it's
it before
a wood.
the game starts.
Yeah.
No, wood bat's totally different.
Listen to this. I had a wood bat. I was raking in the East Cobb showcase deal. Right, it was the whole tournament, and and the bat was one of those Louisville Sluggers off the rack at Academy. Alex Rodriguez signed, right? 271, C271. No, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he was
raking,
a C271 guy.
Raking, right? Out doubles, homers. I'm like, oh my God. Someone on the team takes the bat and uses it without even telling me. He just pulls it, breaks it.
I've seen multiple times in Pro Ball.
Are you kidding me?
I've seen multiple times in Pro Ball, for whatever reason, a pitcher's getting a pinch hit at bat and they don't know it. And so, like, they just go, they get told
grab
pretty
a
late.
bat.
They go pull a bat, panic grab out of the bat rack. They go up to it, and bat's broken. And
Will Myers did that to me in the fall league.
And the guy on the bench is like, did he really just use my bat? He just broke my shit.
Will Myers did it to me in the fall league. He didn't have a bat. He was struggling. He took my bat out. And I was sitting on the ground. I was like, is that my bat? He uses an all-white bat. Mine was a black barrel natural handle. He broke it. I was like, dude. Are you kidding me? That's just how it happens.
I've seen it multiple times.
Part of it. I only use my bat. I never use anybody else's. I was not a bat whore.
Well, I'm going back to the, pre-high school days whenever, the school would buy like 3 for you if you were lucky.
Oh no, see that was always my Christmas presents. My mom would give me my baseball equipment, right? My bat, my batting gloves, all this stuff, and that was like part of my Christmas.
This is it for you.
Yeah, and then I would go and I would use that bat all year, and then I would din it up. I was playing summer ball, I was getting in cages, and then the next year,
I think my glove would be more of my Christmas present. Bat, I think I would go new bat like towards the summer. I don't even know if I got one like for like the high school season. It'd be like towards the summer.
Yeah, I didn't. I had one glove that I used for my 3 years in high school.
I got 2.
I still got
2. Maybe
I don't have it anymore. I don't know where it's at.
Oh, I say toss that thing down for softball for me.
I got plenty of gloves.
Plenty of those.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I got the hand-me-down from the brother.
There you go.
Held down second base for 6 straight years. Courtney brothers.
There you go. Love that.
The first part of the 6 was better.
Oh, probably.
Not even close.
All right, let's get to the.
Kid got DH for. What are you talking about?
Oof.
He's not gonna like that at all.
That's tough.
Oh man,
let's do mistake of the day, bro. Mistake of the day brought to you by our friends down at Dozy Place. You got one for us today.
I had one for you last time. I have one every time. I stay on Doze, Eat Place, and the mistake of the day. And this one, near and dear to probably Kendall Rogers' heart, as we saw, A&M guy, right? And they had a little, I don't know what you call it, I guess a streaker? Because he was clothed, and then by the end of it, he felt like he literally showed his ass. Which is something that you always just like to see. These guys I have no idea what the sign says. I have no idea what's going on.
Is that
here.
a double mask?
Yeah, I think so.
And then he drops
Lose
it.
that. A little butt show.
And he's just running with the butt out.
And then it gets better. He's pretty quick.
Nice strides.
And you don't really expect this, and
This is where he gets caught up though. He's starting to feel it in his legs a little bit.
Yeah, the legs
you
get
can see
heavy.
him slow down. He's trying to. He's like,
Then he realizes that wall was way taller than what he wanted it to
Try
be.
again.
Go up.
Try again. Oh.
A little muscle up. Up and over.
Oh, he did it. Did they get him?
And that's when we have our next video.
Something
It
sucks.
says Trump 2024 on his chest.
Oh, good for him.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know if that's going to happen. Very Texas. And then here's him going up and over. On the other end.
Oh!
Immediately.
Oh, he met the boys.
Oh, the guy's
Whole
ready.
squad's there with the taser out. He's like, I'm done. I'm good.
Look, yeah. Wow.
Look,
I wish I
I mean,
would've
look
just
look
tased
how
him.
quick he was to get into the. Please don't fucking tase me today, bro. I'm good. I'm done.
I mean, he might as well.
Face
just
that. He
landed
could have
on his
asked him
knees.
to do anything, and he'd have done it.
Wow. Got him.
I hope it was worth it.
Hey, rewind it one more time. Look at the guy in the background that was sitting down. That gets off the ground like nothing happened.
This one?
No, right in the background, right there. Oh, they got him.
Oh, he's just filming. He's filming.
And he gets up. He's like, I got what I needed.
All right, good. Let me send this to social. So there's your Dozy Place Mistake of the Day. No name has been dropped about who this man was.
It won't be. It probably won't be.
Yeah, he's probably in the police blotter somewhere, but good effort, American Ninja Warrior.
You don't get 2 chances on
Hope-
American Ninja Warrior.
Hey, hope it was worth it, buddy.
Yeah, you missed that first one. You're in the water. You're done.
Up the ramp.
Bingo.
That is your Dozy Place Mistake of the Day. Not surprised to see it from an Aggie.
Love that. What you got, Jay, for the curtain calls? Curtain calls brought to you by our friends down at Assured Partners.
Being
Me,
and
Frankie.
There you go. My curtain call for the day
what do
will
they do?
be
What do y'all do?
to
Commercial insurance, coach.
Oh.
We do.
And,
Listen, you want to write? You need some insurance written for your company, your businesses? Holler at me. Workers' comp, GL, property, everything that you're having issues with.
Me personally?
Not you, because you don't have a business.
At the
I can
LLC?
help. We get real creative in trying to figure out how to make this thing work. So
Who's Cruise?
give me a shot.
LLC.
Go ahead.
there you go. In light of tomorrow being obviously probably the biggest baseball day of the year, right? And I don't just
So
mean
far.
the LSU and Tennessee series. It's opening day. Mine will go to Sergio Romo. I don't know if y'all saw it. So I don't know the whole story on it, but I think he knew he was going to retire this year. So when he showed up to spring training, which I'm under the impression that he didn't play the entire spring training, so I don't know exactly when he showed up. But every time a kid asked him for an autograph, he asked them to sign his hat as well.
That's
so
awesome.
he pitched his last game in an exhibition.
These are all a bunch of kids
San
in spring
Francisco with
training that
hat
asked
on.
me for autographs.
That hat.
I know I was only there for roughly a week,
That's awesome.
but
I
I
heard
was
he's an
trading
awesome
autographs
dude.
with kids.
You gotta stick around.
Right. Yeah.
They asked me, hey, can you sign this?
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
I mean, he's never been a stuff guy, and he's stuck around that long. He's obviously a great dude, too.
And a lot of sliders.
Oh, slider.
lot of
I have
sliders.
one at bat against him ever in spring training. He walked me, and he just literally threw me like 7 sliders.
Yeah, a lot of sliders. That's
Like,
all
are
he
you
threw.
kidding me right
now,
now?
when he pitched, he got the automatic ball called on him. He took too long.
He did. The first pitch when he first got in, I did see that.
I mean, have some feel.
Yeah. So that's mine.
I like it. You got one?
Yes, I do. This, shout out LSU, never change. There was a report of a couple kids maybe ran out of some booze. Want to have a little post party, maybe it's not over. Break into Tiger Stadium, $1,500 worth of beer. Now, I'm not sure if they're using the beer prices based off what it would
Stadium
cost in the
prices, or-
stadium or if it's retail, but legends.
I'm gonna guess stadium prices.
They have the name. I'm not doxing this kid. They have it. It's public knowledge. Bryce Toledo, shout out, 19-year-old, not even 21, even better, which is why he had to steal the beer because he can't buy it, has been arrested for 1 count of simple burglary for stealing multiple cases of beer from Tiger Stadium. Toledo and a group of college-aged males stole silver cases of beer at approximately 3 a.m. on Sunday. Think they were sober?
Nope.
Nope. The group of men were carrying the beer by hand when the police approached them and they fled the scene, according to arrest documents. However, surveillance video at the stadium revealed that Toledo and the men placed the beer inside a black pickup truck that belonged to Toledo. Ooh, he's really catching the brunt of this. The officers traced the truck back to Spruce Hall, a residential community on the university's campus that houses 400 first-year students.
Nice detective work.
College of Engineering. Yeah, so there goes that engineering degree. When officers arrived at Residence Hall, this is where he fucked up. Toledo gave them permission.
This is where?
Yeah. Toledo gave them permission to search the room where they found the stolen cases of beer. You got to know your rights.
You think that's the first place he fucked up?
Yeah, I think
Everything up to then he was fine.
So let me ask you this, just so we know what we're dealing with here. Was that
Curtain
another
call.
mistake of the
Curtain
day
call.
or curtain call?
I did have it as the mistake of the day, and I was like, wait.
He likes the curtain call because the guy was trying to go get some beer at 19 and he couldn't buy it. So how do I do it? Okay, I'm sure they have some at Tiger Stadium. Let me get in there. It was an adventure.
Yeah, I mean,
Lloyd's all about
Lloyd has a very soft spot for the delinquent
delinquents.
side of him.
They only gave him one count of simple burglary, so
he
he's
really
fine.
got off easy.
He's fine.
Yeah,
Well, fine.
He'll be fine.
Lloyd's like my boy.
I respect that. Yeah, dude, I love this guy.
Oh, my
respect
God.
the hustle. Hey, Talata, whenever you get out of prison,
Maybe he'll come hang out with us to tell
yeah,
it for you.
Heineken Silver.
you
It's
go.
free. You can have those. You don't have to steal anything. $1,500 a beer. How much is that?
I don't know.
I mean, a lot.
So he had to have a crew.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's
Lucky no DUI for anybody.
true. Well, I guess they can't prove that they were driving drunk.
Well, they saw it put it in. I guess they just saw it put him in the. Yeah.
Right.
So that's where he got away. That's the real curtain call.
Yeah.
Cover your tracks.
And maybe he wasn't driving drunk.
I feel like if you're stealing beer,
Maybe they had a driver.
get away.
Maybe a getaway. Yeah,
But I love
you had a
this-
wheelman.
I love this guy. Holler at me when you get
all
your
right.
phone back from commissary.
My curtain call, J. Mitch kind of touched on the Major League Baseball. It's MLB opening. It's Major League Baseball's opening day tomorrow. Opening day is one of the most fun days of the year as a professional baseball player. Making the team out of camp and being able to get an opening day start is awesome. Not a lot of guys get to do it. And when you do, you have to enjoy it, right? And this opening day matchup, which is at 3:05 our time, 4:05 Eastern, is Aaron Nola versus Jacob deGrom. Obviously, you know Aaron Nola from being from Baton Rouge, pitched at LSU, one of the all-time greats at LSU. It's his sixth straight opening day start for the Phillies. And the articles that I've been reading and all of the media attention is Aaron Nola and the Phillies have ceased contract extension talks before opening day. Now, the season's starting. They're not going to talk it throughout the course of the season, so they say. And so now he's on the last year of his deal. He gets it's a kind of a prove-it season for him. Like, hey, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to pitch really well. I'm going to go into free agency and see what happens. And, shout out to him getting his sixth straight start. Just opening day in general, for me, is the curtain call. I was fortunate enough to have 3 straight opening day starts, which was awesome. And
What a feeling.
it was great.
Jogging out to the outfield, hot
Yeah.
dogs.
It was.
booze
I mean,
in the
it
air.
was cold though.
But
Oh,
not
yeah.
hot weather.
Not hot. It was
Yeah.
cold. We played in Chicago.
Cubs.
No,
White
we played the
Sox?
White Sox.
Comiskey?
So we played the White Sox in 17. We played the.
You better remember all 3.
I don't know. We in 18 and 19 we were in Toronto
Inside.
inside. In 18,
Home.
maybe it was a home. Maybe it was home. It was a home series. Yeah, it was cold though. It was cold, except for in Toronto because there was a dome.
And you couldn't have a matchup of 2 different styles of pitchers. DeGrom obviously dominant.
Power
Right.
guy.
But can't stay healthy. Aaron Nola just
I mean, I wouldn't say can't. I mean, he has some incidents, but he probably gets 20, 25 starts, 20 starts a year.
yeah,
at least
but
20.
he's
Yeah, he's never getting 30. He's not getting 32 right now.
and Nola eats innings alive.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun. Baseball's back.
Here's your pick to win it before the season starts. Put a future out. The Angels. Look how good they are. See those 2 guys in the World Baseball Classic?
Don't forget about Rendon, too,
Oh God, why are they bad?
because they can't pitch.
Can't pitch.
Oh,
Pitched there for a
Shohei
while.
can't throw 5 times in a row.
And
Yeah.
then left fielder throws balls that he means to throw home into the first base duck. I'm just kidding.
Joe Adele.
That video is like all time bad.
Who else? I'm trying to think. So obviously the Braves are gonna be very
You want me
good.
to pull up the odds?
The Mets are gonna be really good. You can pull up the odds. The Yankees are gonna be solid again. Astros obviously are
gonna be
good.
Yeah.
The Rangers, I think, are going to be shocking. I mean, they have a bunch
They're
of
gonna be
talent.
good. I just don't think it's gonna. I
No,
don't think
no.
they're gonna be a contender though. Not like a real contender.
Padres are going to be nasty.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Padres. I'm going to say the Padres win it. The Padres have been trying to win it for the last 3 years. They've been putting a bunch of money in that team. They've been trying to go get, and they have all the guys. Soto's going to have his second year with San Diego, right? They traded him last year. He's going to sign their big deal. He's going to his second year. So usually the second year, like a big superstar who gets traded mid-year or his first year in a new team, kind of goes, that's okay. The next year is usually their big year. Look at what Lindor did in New York. His first year, solid, okay. Not Lindor-esque. Last year, a lot better. So I'm going to go with the Padres.
Okay. If you want the odds,
Yeah.
they are forever in your favor. Astros plus 400, Yankees plus 750, Mets plus 800, Dodgers plus 800, Braves plus 850, and to round it out, Padre Pio plus 1,000.
All right. I thought the Padres would be favored over the Dodgers, but I guess they're going Dodgers with the track record.
Yeah. I'll throw two names out there, even though I don't think the second one will win, but I do think they're going to go probably further than what people thought. I'll go Dodgers and Phillies.
I like the Phillies too. I really do. Now
Plus
it depends.
1,400.
It
That's the one that caught my eye.
It depends on when Bryce comes back.
They're talking about him being back before or at All-Star break.
Yeah.
What did he do? What was his injury?
Tommy John.
He can't DH?
Yeah, he can.
Did it last year.
But
right?
he
what I'm saying.
had
Fix
surgery.
it.
He didn't have surgery. And he
Yeah.
fixed it. So now he's got you can't swing with a brace on your arm.
Yeah.
I feel like Bryce will come back sooner.
And that's his lead arm.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Did you
We'll
hurt
see.
it swinging?
No. I mean, he heard it like last year. He played with it all year.
Yeah, I
but
knew
he
that.
DH'd.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the year, he had surgery on it, and in the offseason, he had surgery on it, and a year deal. But for position players, it's not a full year. So that's it.
That's the show.
That's the show, folks. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate you,
folks.
Appreciate y'all tuning in and listening and watching and asking questions and doing all the things that we ask you to do. We appreciate that. Again, we're having a tailgate tomorrow. Show up, show out. Come look for us. Look for the Mik'd Up sign. Look for us hanging out. It's a secret. I'm not telling you where it's at. You just got to find us.
You'll hear us.
But we're going to be out there. Please hit the subscribe button. Share it. Like it. We appreciate all the feedback. And if you can't watch us and you're traveling, you're driving, and you don't want to listen to us, we're anywhere you get your pods. We're a lot more fun when you watch us, though. We'll see you on Friday.
I haven't been putting the
May see you tomorrow.
Have you not?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
We may see you tomorrow.
The look in your eye.
I was like, dude. We may see you tomorrow. Hopefully we see you tomorrow. Come out, have a good time. Get off of work a little early. Come have some drinks. And then we'll definitely see you on Friday from 1 to 3 in studio. You're watching Mik'd Up.
Now the
Have a great
threads
night.
for your
Peace.
shirts. Support a good charity.
There you go.
Me.
Huh.